Hey guys, yeah, 2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon. That's turning into a positive one once again. Good to see the market climbs its way back as we've seen over the past little while, week or so. Here's how things are setting up as we go into the final couple hours here. 0.274. The S&P 500, about 0.2 for the Dow right now, 0.25% for the NASDAQ, largely due to a few individual names, including Meta, helping out NASDAQ right now, getting back to positive territory. Pretty ugly day down here for crypto. 3.7 right now for Bitcoin, 3% as well for Ethereum. Back to the downside we go. Crude oil under pressure as well, about 2% in negative territory. There's just some FDIC headlines coming across, just be aware. None of it has to do, however, with, it looks like, FRC resuming trading. So just take that for what it's worth. Here is the S&P 500, 0.3% right now in positive territory, as I mentioned, but there is still a fair bit of negativity on this board, including from, the financial sector. A lot of them still downside, including the individual banks outside of JP Morgan and Wells Fargo. Citigroup here as well, still up about 1%, JPM 2%, Wells Fargo about the same again. JP Morgan, if you missed it this morning, going to repay all of those big banks that deposited money into FRC to help stabilize their bank the first go around. Here's NCLH, about 10% off earnings. Great report, decent forecast for them as well. RCL down here, 4.3%. It was quiet. Really didn't do much initially in the pre-market off of their earnings, but once the market opened, nice look, 10% higher almost. 4% there for CCL. A lot of the other travel-related names catching a bit on that as well. Wynn, MGM, Caesars here as well, along with LVS, 1% to the upside. A little bit of weakness from retailers today. Amazon downside. We had that cautionary note we were talking about from an analyst this morning, suggesting that their quarter going forward, so not Q1 but Q2 that we're in right now, going to be kind of make or break as far as the way the market is looking at it. Will we see a rebound in some of the areas that were under pressure in Q1? So more kind of cautionary tales from Amazon to come, possibly. Etsy, Alta Beauty here, and eBay, also all three of these downside along with Amazon. Newell Brands, 8.5% to the downside off of earnings. So consumer discretionary names under a little bit of pressure. 4% right now for NVIDIA. Again, it's AMD reporting this week. Not NVIDIA, but a great day. ON Semiconductor, also earnings report out this morning. Hardware and software names are positive. A lot of green over here as well. Nothing huge as far as individual movers to talk about, but industrial, consumer staples, and utility shares also helping to offset some of the weakness. So about 0.3 right now for the overall market as we head into, as we said, final couple hours of a Monday. Hope yours is going well. We'll kick things off, as we always do, with a look back at some of the opportunities that were available to you this morning. If you joined us in the pre-market, if you didn't join us in the pre-market, make sure you do that tomorrow. We talk about everything that's moving, why it's moving in the pre-market, what we can look for as far as opportunities, trade opportunities going forward. So let's get into a few of them that we were discussing. We kicked things off. I was looking at this little ELAN popped up on FDA approval for one of their drugs. So it's not a huge move, but just keeping that in mind. We were going to kick things off, though, with some of the banks. Again, when we sat down this morning, FRC was the main headline. JP Morgan swoops in, picks up whatever pieces it can in return for a $10.8 billion deposit into the FDIC, deposit, I guess, payment, whatever you want to call it, along with paying back, as I mentioned, some of the other big banks that initially helped in the bailout for FRC. So Wells Fargo was one of those, Bank of America, Citi in there as well. So in total, it was about 30.5 or 30.8 billion that JP Morgan was going to pay for FRC, which, guys, as we said, still halted here at 2 o'clock. Not going to open, let's be honest.
I love the last little part there. It's like, not going to open, just be honest. And it's probably right. You know, I don't see what there is here for it to open up. I haven't read anything that indicates anything about shareholders getting anything out of that for FRC. And if that changes, fine. It'll probably be the OTC, if anything. So FRC, there's nothing to be said. It's halted, and it's unlikely to open back up. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Once we get some kind of an update on what might happen one way or another with the equity, more definitively, fine. I like the 142 for JPM. It just didn't hold up. And you had a previous breakout at that price on earnings. 145 had been rejected. I like the 142 resistance to maybe turn into some support. That never happened. Took one shot long, stopped it out. It ended up carrying through and really even holding like 141 even. And I'll go to the 3-minute chart. You can see that a little bit better. Oh, still wicks all over the place on this one. It ends up holding 141 even, which wasn't my price. So it was never going to be a good long for me on JPM. With FRC, I'm not sure, like I said, there's anything to be said. What you can look at and what did move today was Pacific West. Pacific West at the open just absolutely, like it ran to the upside initially. Like it bounced off $10 and then just made a right turn at about 10:45 and hit like 9 even. We actually hit on PAC-W. Kind of got into VWAP there, and now it's trending back down. There was just a volume spike on it a couple of minutes ago back into VWAP. I think maybe that 960 could be a nice tradable area for a PAC-W, but that was more or less the one to trade. We're not going to be able to trade FRC. PAC-W did give you some opportunities at the open. I think that 965, 970 area at VWAP makes some sense for both resistance and a potential breakout. Nothing terribly specific there, but certainly, if you're watching the regional banks, I think PAC-W is the one you want to pay attention to now that FRC is kind of gone.
Yeah, I mean, I was most interested in Wells Fargo, JP Morgan up at 144, but like Neil just mentioned, highlighted, honestly, man, logging out and back in is not going to work, so we're going to have to figure this out. But that 144 top on the daily chart, I mean, that was looking absolutely great in the past. So we're going to have to try to find that out, 144 and change right there coming through. So I'd say be careful. But yeah, that's been a nice double, triple top. We'll see if it can hold out again. You saw it today. We'll see if we can see it tomorrow. But there goes JPM to the downside. Back over to the desk.
Just seeing a note here on NVIDIA, we saw up 4%. Yeah, I guess day highs there. Wow, unbelievable, 4.5% to the upside. 289 obviously just gets broken. There was a volume spike there, so I was just double checking. But let's talk about Apple coming up here on Thursday. There was a note this morning suggesting that they're going to beat, and it's going to be a big beat, and it'll be iPhone sales and it'll be services that come through better than expected. So we're wondering if we're going to get a little bit more leadership from some of the big names. I mean, most of them obviously reported last week. So some of the big names definitely on watch, along with, as you guys were talking about, Meta, just a monster today.
Yeah, that makes sense because the outflows usually end up going there. And if the interest income is going to be made on that money, it's going to be made on the money where it's sitting. So keeping my eye on the rest of the year for these big banks and seeing how they play out.
Yeah, I guess NVIDIA is excited about AMD earnings coming up tomorrow. But Apple, guys, not much to do here today. Definitely not the most exciting one.
So before we get to Apple, which sucked, by the way, I'm going to do this for myself on Apple, but NVIDIA is at 290, and I'm back to, well, okay, I wasn't really aggressively shorting it until we got to like 285. I was long a couple times in NVIDIA. We'll get to this maybe more in depth at some point. Maybe we won't. But it's at the 290. It was 280 to 290. I was actually long twice and stopped out twice. One of them was, there was a dark pool wick back into 278, which I think it might have been responsible for the second trigger because it did hold. It ended up holding 279.50 in retrospect, but there was a dark pool wick. That happens. You got to monitor a little bit closely to make sure you don't get wicked out on those. But I was just at that point exacerbated and annoyed with myself for having a tight stop in the first place. But I'm short off the 290. If there's a turn here, I suppose it's going to have to be at this particular price. For those of you that haven't seen this, this is NVIDIA 280. That's, 282, 280, that's it making power moves. Apple felt like it was similar at 170. So, breaking out on the daily, kind of a similar setup. Felt like it was about and poised to do the same thing. It obviously did not. I had that long break and decided when that break failed, I scalped it out, decided when it failed to go back to the well, longing in front of 169. That obviously did not work out, just kept loading into it and took the hit. And ultimately, it's like one of them, the break was clean, and that was the one that was worth fighting for. I fought the wrong one, the wrong battle, ended up losing on Apple here today. You know what, though? It's back above 170, so that same failed breakout is on the bid. If this market goes, well, suddenly Apple 170 looks pretty solid. All that said, until we break out the highs, we're only 0.2 up on the NASDAQ, 0.24 on the ES. Meta seems way stronger. NVIDIA's at a monster level, that 290 right now as we speak, so it just went over. I have not taken a single fill above 290. As with any of these even dollars, I'm going to give it to that 50 level. If it does look like it wants to hold this price level, I'll probably add somewhere back around the even or just slightly above. But I'm not giving this much past like the $0.50. If it's going to turn, it's probably got $1.50 to $2 in it. But at this point, who knows, man? Like I had one long that I held at 87, and then it got out at like 288.30, and then it went to 290. So I don't know how much I want to fight this, and if it holds at 290 bid, maybe it's just headed to 295. It seems implausible, but it's only 4.5%. We've seen NVIDIA do more, to be quite honest with you. So I am short right now, essentially at that 90 even, and we'll give it to 50 pennies. I'm going to try not to lose any dollars on this stock somehow.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we talked about this a little bit on the midday show. We had about 1,000 shares or so of Apple right in here when it finally decided to break up. So we wound up losing, all the way up, and it was a couple $100 there, which does suck. But we're going to see if we can make it back a little bit. Just trying to buy some of these dips and then getting it out again. So hopefully that can happen back into here. I was looking to get out if we do break through this 90 or a little bit lower than that. These lows right here, sort of where we started to build it. 70s, like if we could break through there, then maybe that might be something. So we'll watch out for Apple coming back into 169.80, 169.70. But, we are taking some out when you start to get that bump up. I still think we could take out this 170.50. I mean, it's the same story over and over again. We could sit here and talk about all of these reports, right? But until the NASDAQ wants to break out, which it's trying to do, but it is having that hard time getting above some of these levels. So here's 13.4. If we zoom it back out just a little bit, you're still trying to go back to this level right there, back on the 4th of April, where you came in and basically right here, right now. So let's just see what we want to do. I could see, like I said, I could see a pullback in the NASDAQ, which of course would pull back Apple, which is what we were looking for earlier. But right now we're sort of stuck above here. So, you want to definitely hold this 13,300, which is right in here somewhere. And then that little level right there is 2. So you are pulling back a little bit as Apple's coming back in. So we have our out target for Apple, which is that 80 break. So if it does break that, then we're going to be out, and it could take another hit, looks like, here on Apple. But it's a good thing that AMD went back up to the upside. We're able to take some out there as it's floated back up. And look at this dump, like, hello, huge dump down for AMD, worth getting some more at this level as well, I guess.
Okay, good. Just confirming, Miss Danielle Shea is coming up in about a half an hour or so, 2:50. We'll try and get in contact with Danielle, talk about what's coming up this week, get her thoughts on Apple, get her thoughts on the Fed. So that should be good. Let's talk SoFi here. Just noticing this happened. We're right back to day lows, essentially. 550 ended up holding early on this morning, but wow, what a reversal. 10.5% after what seemed like a pretty good report this morning.
Yeah, and the market selling it off, making newer lows. We haven't been this low, Brendo, since going back to mid-March. March 21st was the last time we were at these levels. So the market definitely selling off the news. You got to assume there was some bag holding somewhere.
550, yeah. Going to have to go back pretty far, guys, to find another level to look at for SoFi.
Well, do you? I think you go back to March. Well, beginning of March, $5. That was a pretty good jump off zone. Look, we've been waiting around. I've been waiting pretty much weeks for, okay, it's not that long because really it has been since March, since it barcoded here and bounced off 5 even, but that's 625. You're looking for the level, It finally gaps above it instead of breaking out, so it doesn't provide you with a breakout trade. It really just left, that zone, 625, 630 into $6 for a dip buy. I'm like, okay, well, if that's the breakout area, let's just go for the dip buy in that zone. We've seen this happen before on SoFi where it goes up and dips. I can't remember a time that it went from +7 to down 10. I can remember times that it goes all the way back to flat or maybe slightly negative and then catches a bit of a bid. But that one felt a little bit more extreme today. All that said, I was long right up into that zone I just talked about. At least the only good thing about SoFi this morning was the sheer velocity with which it broke back into that zone, meaning there was no chance you were going to be long at like 25s or 30s because it was already in front of $6 by the time you blinked an eye. Like that was the only price. I think if you started in earlier, you probably just had bids sitting out there. But if you waited for it to get into the zone, it was screaming to the downside. I ended up long. It didn't really last very long. My 15-minute, you can't even tell. We're in it. We're averaged into it. I ended up getting priced pretty much what I wanted in front of 6 even, and then just getting taken out past that high. I didn't reverse. I wish I could say that I did, but clearly you can see no reversal short. It was maybe the right level because there was consolidations underneath. They pulled a rug here on SoFi. $5 makes some sense. If there's going to be another level to work off of, I suppose that would be it. Just a couple of, just to go back over to NVIDIA just for a second, because I did, 15 minutes no good. We'll go to the 3. We did have the short. We did wick it out. It then rejected again, so it did the break. I had my stop set at 50. It then rejected that 50, so we get stopped. Sometimes that's how it goes. I jump back into it, maybe 5 cents worse. I mean, it's still a $289.86 price, but a little bit worse. I'll have to get some out here in front of $289, and then we'll see where it goes. But I did take the L the first time through. Now we're just trying to ring the register as it pulls back in from that 290 level. I'm in Google long, but my stop is very, very close. I wanted to try to get long into the 108 break instead of a 108 break, but I'm only risking about 20 to 25 pennies on it depending on slippage. So NVIDIA short, at some point I'll mention Intel, but wow, SoFi was a rug pull, if any, today.
I still don't think, EPS, negative EPS, negative 5 cents there on the earnings per share.
But adjusted.
Yeah, exactly. So they adjusted it. That's even worse, I guess. But and that's part of the problem in this environment. When you have raising rates, the rates are going higher on Wednesday again. You don't want to be in a name that's losing money. So Palantir, SoFi, some of these brand new names that we may like them as stocks, but if they're not making money, you just have to watch out for them. And I think the biggest name into concern, and I had the same, I was in and out of SoFi. So for me, it was lucky, in and out at $6 twice, and that was it. And we didn't wind up losing that much on SoFi. But I'm worried about Uber. Uber coming in here, you're going to see another name that people are hoping that turns profitability coming through for Uber. If they miss again, or they, not again, but if they miss on turning a profit and don't guide properly, we're going to see Uber probably getting hit because that's up another 5%, and Uber's been super strong over the last couple of days. So this is a name that's under watch for me coming out. I think it was tonight or tomorrow, so Uber's this week. We talked about it earlier. Let me just double check.
Tomorrow,
is it aftermarket tomorrow? It's coming up. So it is the 2nd, yes. Tomorrow morning.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
So it was on our list. So right there, we're going to watch out for Uber. I think this one's in prom. You can see no PE right now. Let's see if we can put a number there tomorrow. If there's a number there tomorrow, Uber rockets up because no more negativity. Let's see if Uber can make a little bit of money. But I'm looking for that to add to. I don't own any Uber, but to add to the list of companies that are turning the corner, you could see a decent bump in Uber. It's well up. This is the next name that's in a little bit of problem. If they don't report a positive number, I could see the same thing happening to these guys as they did to SoFi yesterday or today.
All right, we were just discussing Meta here as we get this headline that came across just as you guys were wrapping up in the midday there. So if you missed it, $7 billion is the value, according to Bloomberg here, for this bond offering or senior note sale. Down here, if you remember this morning, they filed with the SEC for this shelf offering. The size was not disclosed at the time, according to the SEC filing, but Bloomberg comes out and says it's going to be $7 billion. Based on what then happened after that, one would think it was less than everyone was expecting.
Yeah, and I guess bullish for market participants. Have a look at this, guys. The longest portion of the offering is set to be about 40 years, and it could yield 215 basis points over treasuries. And Meta plans to use the funds apparently to help finance CapEx, repurchase outstanding shares, and for acquisitions or investments. Brendo.
$7 billion, guys, ends up not being really all that much if you think about it.
No, not a tremendous amount. I mean, considering how much, they're spending a lot on Reality Labs, so it's not really a tremendous amount of money. However, if you look at the post earnings gap up top, I guess that's what I'm calling it. So last Thursday, the high on Meta, it was like I had 242, like 30 something, low 30, something like that. It doesn't really matter where you draw the line, but that's the high from Thursday. If you look at where this moved to, right, so broke out, got through 242, you're now holding support at that same, I suppose, high, like that high from Friday, or Thursday, I should say. So if we can hold this, I mean, like, where's Meta going to go? If it's above that line, to me, it's got some long opportunities in front. Otherwise, I think maybe you work off of maybe a breakdown there could make some sense if there's a pullback for it. We did the bet for the afternoon, which obviously it's Meta above or below 242. I mean, for obvious reasons. I mean, I just showed that 242 Thursday top, so you know, if it closes above, it's 1% right now, to be slightly better than 1%. The market's essentially flat, so you know, strong name there. If you think it's going to hold these gains, then you can bet yes with your viewer points, and obviously, if it breaks to the downside, you know, you can bet no. It's a yes or no proposition. Will it close above 242? I think that could be a scalp trade inside of this range. I'm actually in Google in a similar setup on a weaker stock. I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't just be in Meta in front of 242. If it gets down there, it maybe gives you bids closer to like that 4230, 4240. Could be worth it just to go in and out, as it is one of the strongest names in the overall market. Just very quickly, I mentioned NVIDIA, and then I didn't talk about the Intel position from this morning. I'll pop the 15-minute on so you guys can see what we're doing with it. This was just the entire morning when the market was bouncing. Every bounce, Intel wouldn't go. And when Intel's in a supply zone and the market's going up and it's not going with it, to me, short the supply zone. So the supply zone was 30.80 into, look, the top is 31.25, but really it wasn't printing past 31, so about a 20-cent range to get in. I was getting out once it was beneath 30.80. I still have a piece on, still holding about 20, actually no, just under 20% left, 15%, and then if it breaks down to 30 even, that's gonna be my out. I just got out of Google, so that one just came down, but I'm still holding the last piece of Intel. So if anyone's curious about that, I don't know if it'll provide a re-entry point, to be honest with you. So this could be one of those other afternoons where I'm just sort of sitting in the last of my Intel short as it hits the low of the day. Alphabet just came out, so I was in that consolidation long, kind of was checking out a little bit. I gave it like 25 cents. It's starting to break here to the downside. Looks like it's about to get out. Well, Kling Daddy, I wish I had put the Apple risk over into Intel this morning. That would have been a heck of a lot nicer. But I like that Apple. You know, I shouldn't have liked it more than NVIDIA. That's the problem. I should have, like, if I was willing to fight for something today, it should have been NVIDIA 280, because that was the first one of the breakouts that I sat down for, and you know, I bungled it. Sometimes that's what it's all about. Like, put the risk into the right places. I don't think I did here today. So yeah, Intel was good. NCLH, I got a piece left, but not very much. It was more about not fighting some of the tech names that were relatively weak, and that's why I don't necessarily want to fight Meta. If it breaks down, I think you can short it. It's not like NVIDIA, which got to a 290. Meta's at a level where it would almost need to break that 42 where we had the line drawn before.
Let's just hope this market blasts higher right now, man. Yeah, I mean, I know there's not too many positive stocks on the board here today for us, but we're going to just keep on blasting through. I really think that, some of these levels have come back in here. We did average in to this position here on Apple, so if you're seeing it, I talked about it. I'm trading with a hell of a lot more shares, but making a hell of a lot more damage to the account when you're wrong. So let's see if Meta can't get back up to if Apple can't withstand this 170 right now. It's a pretty key level. I could see us popping off from there. We have a report coming out on Thursday for this name. Let's see if it continues to work. We just put on a couple hundred more shares down there. Would be nice to get a little bit of a pop back up. And then AMD, it came back in again into our level one more time. And so there's the average up, and then average down. Let's see if I'm gonna take another piece out here at 79 if we can get it. And then see, we don't get it. But there it is. Well, darn it, too bad. We just tried to offer 79 there and missed it, and then it comes all the way back down. So we were doing quite well there, and then the market stopped again. Let's just see, we're coming back in. There's another key level there. We're bouncing off that previous high of the day, and now we're starting to go back to the downside. So can't catch a break today with trying to buy some of these dips. This time, maybe this is the dip that finally continues to make the move down. It's been a pretty solid last hour and a half or so, or 2 hours, I guess, straight up to the upside. Now you're starting to see some of this pull back in. So where are our outs? I mean, our outs are pretty well defined for us anyways. Apple down here, we have that out. It just fell back in right into this area here. So like a break too much lower than where we are right now, 80s. Again, if it wants to go, great. We've been doing okay. Longs and out, long and out. This last long and out a little bit, but I'm trying to, like I said, pretty much every position we have on goes into money for us, but then greed takes over and we're unable to get it out. So it's like waiting for too high of a move. So, you know, if we're gonna take 20 cents, we're long at 60 right now on AMD. The problem is it's an averaged in price. So we have a long here at 90 and a long at 80, giving us the average price of 71 right now. So, you know, the fact that it's going up, I know we're 20 cents in the money, but it's only 11 cents because of our average price. So we need this to continue its move to go higher right now. GDC, we can look at that. What's up with that stock? I don't know if you guys are talking about GDC
it's
or
halted.
gold. Halted, so that's another name right now. Halted, yeah, up 840%. Wow. Today, again, a $2 bottom straight to the upside. Let me guess, Guangzhou something. GDC continues. GD Culture Group. I'm going to assume it's a Chinese name just because of what's been happening.
Hong Kong, I think.
Hong Kong listed. Okay, so huge.
I think.
Yeah, most likely. Looks like it just might have IPO'd there a couple weeks ago, maybe back in February, January there, straight up to the upside. So I'm not going to comment on these stocks. They just, you guys know how dangerous they are to play. And if you're going to continue to play with them, then just don't cry when you get burned. And it's nothing about, I mean, I'm crying all the time on these big cap names. I'm very responsible for the positions that are going in. But when you're trading a GDC or an FRC, and I feel horrible for the people that have lost a lot of money here on FRC. It's not going to reopen back up. I wouldn't think on the New York, and then you're going to have to deal with it over on the pink sheets. And I'm not certain of anything here with FRC. So First Republic again today. This is what happens when you sort of, you know, test. Or just, I don't want to say test, but maybe it's just gambling. Maybe is the right, oops, my chart is now gone. Maybe it's just gambling is the right terminology here when we talk about these names, because like we saw it dip down here and another 50%, 30%, 20%, just a slew of bad news coming on FTC until eventually the Widowmaker today, where JP Morgan just takes it and is loving every minute of it. So we'll have to wait to see what happens with First Republic, as that's just downside. And if you are stuck in these shares, I don't know what to tell you, man, other than maybe contact your broker and find out what the procedure is for, and when they get delisted, what the procedure is for you. But typically it's been down to the pink sheets. You wait a couple days, they show up in your account at the new price, and then
and that's if there's an equity at all.
That's, yeah,
which we don't even know.
I don't know where it's going.
We don't really know where it's going.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I'm not in it personally, but I do know that there's, you know, some of you are in it. You've already put in the chat, so I feel bad about that. But
yeah, so yeah,
stuck.
Good luck to anybody. I mean, people, you know, we've seen that situation before. And like sometimes, like you said, with SIVB, you open back up in the OTC markets, it's still there. We don't know what's going to happen here. I do have one of these types of names that this got pointed out to me, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Bed Bath & Beyond has been at 10 cents for a while. Now, I'm not saying this is a clear flat bottom, but Friday's low, 10 cents. You can see it kind of holding the exact 10-cent level here. And obviously, we know where the stock has been. So if you see Bed Bath & Beyond pop in, for me, it's because I'm shorting a 10-cent break. So if it goes to 99, you know, 9.999 cents, that'll trigger my short position, and we'll see if we get those shares. Just want to throw that one out there. I do have that order sitting out. I do also, we're going to go to Amazon in a second.
I keep forgetting that we're doing the rundown. I literally forgot all about that. This midday thing is like throwing me off because it comes back and I want to talk about all these things.
Well, you have an excuse. I really don't have an excuse. I did forget too. But I am in NCLH.
Well, we talked about Meta.
And it's not there. We did talk about Meta, but I just wanted to say I'm still in some of NCLH. We longed it twice off 14 on earnings. It's a bit of a breakout. This is going to go to my daily chart here so you can see. Bit of a breakout, 1385 here, and then the 50 period on the daily, 1385, same price. So we just took the 14 above, gave it a 1380 stop, and now you're jamming to the upside. I'm going to hold out for 15s. I'm trailing this now underneath 14.35 though. So let's see where it does go. I am in NVIDIA to the south side, but I don't think we'll be adding to this one because there might be, if that 290, I don't think we get the 290 again at this point, the way it's starting to come back into the downside. So two shorts, both chip names, still holding on to a bit of NCLH. It's Meta, that 242. Can that hold is the question.
Yeah, I was just checking. 973,000 share float on GDC. The sub 1 million club for GDC. Amazon was at the bottom there. We'll wrap up with that. It is for the third day in a row here, showing some relative weakness versus the overall market. We talked about that analyst note this morning suggesting that this quarter that we're in now could be make or break as far as some of the metrics that missed in Q1 that they just reported, obviously. So a little bit more focus maybe on what Amazon is doing. You have a great chart there on Sharif's screen there that kind of tells the story. It's been not doing a heck of a lot here over the past little while.
No, and you see basically since early April, consolidating. There's the earnings spike. The market likes it, the market doesn't, and now we're coming back right into that mid-range, Brendo, of that mid-range where we've been.
Yeah, relatively weak once again here, guys. That day low is essentially for Amazon.
It was the only short. We're talking about GDC because it's Culture Group, but I was saying my wife's favorite band is Culture Club. And we've seen Boy George and the group 3 times in Toronto. It was good every time. Okay, but yeah, the only name that we wrote down as a short today was going to be Amazon. And again, it's just second day, right? Second day, third day. You could see some pullback in on Amazon over the last couple of days. They had that bad report there on Friday, and got up to 120, and then it just fell down. So since then, man, Amazon here today has been pretty weak, needless to say. There's the move down. And I was waiting for 106, just trying to talk about the tops from Friday, but that didn't come in. And of course, with this market topsy-turvy right now, it's just trying to figure itself out. And it looks like, you know, if you are going to be short on something, this still remains the name to be short, I feel like. There's the 200 period. We try to take it out at 103. Still some downside move. But maybe you're getting some cover at 102. There's, you know, if you're going to go back here on the... Okay, good. We could still get it. So you're back into here, 103. That's that bottom. And then after 103, I mean, there are some wick bottoms right where we are right now, but we've already taken that out. So then you're going to talk about the 19th, which you can't see, right back into here. So that's 101, 101.50. So, man, we're about to get out of our Apple trade. Everything's coming back in right now. So this sucks again, man. We tried to leg into the long, and it looks like the long is wrong again. So Apple, we tried to leg into it. And again, here we go, man. Another, whatever. I have 800 shares. It's going to be another $150, $200 hit, breaking through 80 right now for Apple. So, frustrations continue to mount here for me as the market's breaking back down, and so is Apple. So, see ya. There we go. We got out of everything there. Downside move for Apple, but that sucks. I don't know. We'll have to wait. Meta looks like bring everything back down.
Yeah, Meta just broke that support level. So, man, I just missed an opportunity, I think, to maybe get that as it could have came through. It broke that arbitrary line. The line was at 242.30, but that's just going back into Thursday. And then 242 was a pretty clean break. If it pops back in, I think it'll maybe be a decent short if I can even catch it. I'm trailing NCLH right now. I'm looking over and saying, what can I even get that I'm not already sitting in here? I mean, NVIDIA, like as far as the reload goes on NVIDIA, I don't know that we'll... Like maybe there's a 289 if it pops. I don't know, man. NVIDIA could be back at that 287, which was a double top break. I feel like that's going to be my out for NVIDIA as the market starts coming back into the downside.
Yeah.
We're now red on the NASDAQ. Like this is the thing. So this is the thing. Like we're in an inside market, right? Like how long? We are essentially glued to the same prices. Like we had one day, I think, like, you know, you had that big monster, let's break 13,000 and get to like 13.3. Day. Otherwise, it was all inside. And then we broke up, and then we spent the entire time at the same top end of the range that we had right at the beginning of April, which, there you go. It's like right in here. We had like one failure up top, and essentially we're just up at that high again, trading inside. If we break that down and then head lower, we're just right back to where we were last week. This is the market we're in. And this is, I know people got frustrated last week when we're always trying to go short at the highs.
Whoa.
Well, when the market does this, most of the time at the top, you kind of want to just look for places to fade it at the high of the day. It's crazy. Yeah, Super SPAC, man. I did like 240s this morning. How would I feel about 241 Meta right now? Well, I wanted the 242. You just saw me miss that 242 short. I got a couple on as we're going to go to Brennan at the desk.
A little bit of a late reaction here, guys, but TikTok said to be developing AI-generated video disclosure information As I said, a little bit of a delayed reaction here, but Meta coming off pretty hard.
41. I mean, Meta's still at 241, so the bet can stay open for a little bit. But if it gets too crazy, obviously, we got to respect it. Someone just said, look at PAC-W. I mean, everything is flushing.
Everything's flushing right
so
now.
I can't imagine a world under which, yeah, this is still headed back to its lows, but that's nothing compared to what you just saw, the quadunk on all these tech names. Like, where's coin that I got stopped out? Of course.
They're all back, man. They're all back.
Of course. I was in Coinbase short off the 50 level multiple times. It eventually broke the consolidation. There it is. I should just be jumping right back over to a Coinbase short as well, finding something into VWAP there. Coin's been, like, forget about trying to fight Meta and NVIDIA. I know those are pulling back now and the shorts are fine, but Coin's been a dog all day. 7% to the downside, fails 54, broke 50 down, got past 49 even. So if this comes back into VWAP, let me just see if I can't get a little something back into VWAP on Coinbase. Give it to 51. So I want shorts into 51 even, and we'll see if we're even able to get those. As I said, the NASDAQ turning red here. I don't know. I'm not sure what's still holding up on strength. I mean, NCLH kind of is, but not even that much. Oh, Uber. I mean, Uber is reporting not after market, but because they're reporting tomorrow morning, we could possibly see some volatility there. What's Uber doing? Still strong, not a heck of a lot. That's holding strength a little bit here on Uber. We just made another leg to the downside, and Uber bounced off of trend. Well, actually bounced, didn't even, if you draw the trend from there, it kind of didn't even bounce anywhere near it. But yeah, kind of a strong name there, Uber, so maybe not a fade there. Just looking for things that haven't broken down yet that could still participate in this pullback. Not really seeing much that I'm not already in.
Yeah, we actually just got some more short here for Apple. I mean, I honestly, man, we're flushing ourselves down the toilet today because, like, nothing seems to want to work. We go long, and it starts to break levels and comes right back in. And now we just broke through 13,000 on the NAS, 13.3, sorry. Not 13,000, hold your breath on that one. But, yeah, let's see, man. Maybe now we're finally starting to break down. I mean, we were long Apple when this was happening, then it breaks down. So are we going to go back into the low of the day again, or we're just sort of going to be sitting here in the middle again today? So yeah, a little frustrated here with the trading, but I'm doing it to myself as we just continue to try to hold trend here. There goes Apple back down, so that's good. Bouncing off 30. We just got to take profit when we're right. I mean, that's really all that matters here. And if we can continue to do that, then we can turn our day and our frown, as they say, upside down. So yeah, we'll just get some more bids out here. See, now they're starting to fall down. We're able to get some bids out, start to kick a little bit of coin there after short on 50s. We're short only 37 right now, so it's only amazing 10 cents, but we'll wait to see if it can pull back into the 20s and then a little bit lower for Apple. Again, we'll watch out. It's been a strong name here on the daily chart, but now you're starting to fade back in and you're starting to make some new lows here for Apple. So not new lows, sorry, but we broke through a VWAP and the 200 right there. That should have really been the indication to stop fighting this over and over again. But again, in, eventually get out, take sort of a max pain loss, and now just making back sort of what we lost there by taking out 15, 20 pennies, but would love to see a 169 test and hold. At least that we can get down to there for 169. So that's sort of the target, with VWAP being looked at as well, up as a possible at 169.70. Maybe the market just does want to do some dances and now finally bounce off 13.3. I don't know, man, but I'm getting a little frustrated with the back and forth here. So let's see if we can finally find a direction. And if we can't, man, then you don't do anything. You don't have to do anything if you don't see the market making moves. So it's a good thing we did have some bottom ticks there out for Apple, because here it comes right back up to the upside again. So we'll hold on to this. It's still okay, but yeah, Apple bleeding downside here for me. Hopefully it can continue to do that.
Yeah, I was just watching some softy, but I'm watching NVIDIA also bounce off 288. Let's just see what happens. I want to hold this maybe for 87. I'm going to give this more room. The way the market just fell off there, I don't want to give up the short. I want to be adding to it if I can find a place to do so. But Microsoft, or softy as we like to call it, 305.75, right? You had a low there at 240, sorry, 1040. Pre-market bottoms, pretty much same price. Ignore that wick. I'll try to clean that wick up if I get a chance there. But you start breaking that down, and you got a bit of a gap. I mean, it's not a huge move, but if you get to Friday's bottom, oh goodness, those wicks. If you get to Friday's bottom, that's about 303.30 35 or something like that, just to give you guys the raw numbers. So 305.75 has a couple of dollars to the downside. If the market holds red, then I can see Softy, which was already weak to begin with, relatively speaking. That one could get to the downside. I still want to short back up toward that 42 area on Meta. Not sure we're going to be able to catch that one as the market's starting to pull back in. I got bids to cover Intel if that one goes down any further, and I still want to get into Coinbase. It's consolidating down here just above 50. I'm trying to get the top end of this consolidation. Do I want to step in and wet the old beak here? Maybe I step in and grab something in the I don't want to miss this. If coins headed back to 48, 49, I don't necessarily want to miss this trade altogether. So I might get a little something in this consolidation, work it back into VWAP as I just try to get on the offer here. It's not SSR. Give me those 13s. I don't want to have to take 50 evens. Okay, so I'll take 07s. I was trying to get 13s. It's going to take a little something so we can get this to the south side. I know I want to be short this, but give it some room that if it comes back into VWAP, I have some room to be able to add to it without getting a terribly horrible price there. We'll see what happens, man, but this market, the way it just turned, I mean, this is, like, when was the last time we did this and didn't get back to the lows usually? Like, that's a pretty decent right turn on the market. We got about 20, 30 handles down, so if it's a relatively weak name, it probably has room to go. That's why I like that Microsoft and this Coinbase. Either you're short off a key level at the top, or you're joining a return of the trend down in a stock that was never strong in the first place. That's where I like Coin from. That's where I like Intel. That's where I like Microsoft to set downside.
Yeah, okay. Nice sell side run, yeah, for sure. If you guys are on the sell side of this, it's been a nice little run to the downside, including Google right now back down to 107. So, I mean, I just got another Apple bid at 30s. I don't know, man. We're trying to get some damage going down there on Apple. But right now, Google, wow, that ride is down 40%, down to 30 cents right now. Of course, that's Lordstown talking about potential bankrupt filing there if they don't get stuff sorted out at Foxconn. So there's more to that story for sure. And then there's Google right now making a run to the downside, like straight down off that 108 again. So, if you're going to look at a 20-minute chart for Google, we already made 108 yesterday or first, second, 28th, 27th. Yeah, so you got 2 days ago, Thursday, looks like that high of 108.40. And then we made a 108 high again there on Friday, right off the open before a dump and then a run back into the close. And now you're starting to tick a little bit lower here on that as hopefully Apple can continue its ascent downside right now. But yeah, that looks like a good call. I think Google's been pretty strong lately, but again, dripping down off their earnings report. Nice move on the daily, right? 90 up to this 108, but 108 has sort of been one of those little trap zones there where every time it comes up here, 108, 109, 110, it does seem to find its way back down. So I'd say just be careful with that area there on Google, and we'll wait to see if it does have another play in it or not. NVIDIA up to 290, Meta, Ride. Let's go over to Ride quickly because we just talked about it. Here's Lordstown today. Only 33 million shares. I actually would have thought this could have done a lot more than that. But we get that news earlier on, and this is what it does straight up from the morning. It came out almost as soon as we went live on the air. Well, we were already live, but almost before the market opened, straight to the downside. So Ride doing nothing. Report comes out. I don't know if it was Bloomberg or self-reported. I don't know what's going on. But straight to the downside. They're cut in half today. So 53 cents we opened at, down there to the bottom of 25, making a little bit of a bounce back up. So I don't know, man. These guys are pretty much primed for a reverse split or something like that. But if they're going bankrupt and they can't handle it, there's no point in staying above $1 anyways. So I'd say watch out for Ride as right back to the upside here with Apple. So hopefully this name can withstand a little bit of a bump and we don't get stopped out of this as well, near 70s.
Yeah, and just looking at, we don't mind looking at other names here. I've given you sort of a couple of ideas. I just got into Coin, like I said. I'm looking at 242 Meta, managing NVIDIA, but until we get these levels start to come in and get a couple of fills, yeah, I don't mind looking at other names. But Shopify here, look, a lot of things just turn to the downside, but I mean, Shop breaking that 48 just now, that got real ugly real fast. And this is why, I mean, I'm looking at that, like that softy, and you're wondering why maybe look at that softy 305.75. Because when you have just maybe it's a previous bottom or something like that, and there's a bit of a gap underneath in a weak market, sometimes it takes that out, and it got through Friday support. That's all that's all I can figure out is it got through what was kind of a support level that had formed on Friday, maybe even aftermarket Thursday. And the second it was broken, this is what happens when stops get run sometimes. There's nothing underneath and it just floods and it goes right to the next support zone. So unless anything happened on it, which I don't think there's any news, it broke a flat bottom and that's what happened. If Microsoft does, no, Microsoft and Shop are not the same thing. However, Softy, and I apologize for these wicks on the chart, these D prints are kind of ugly. 305.75 is the same thing on Microsoft. If that gets taken out, then maybe you can have the floodgates open up. So I'm just going to make sure, get my stop in there. I'm going to use a different key than I was before because I'm just going to put up a different stop to go short if Microsoft breaks that fresh low. So I'm going to grab that short if it breaks that bottom. Hasn't happened yet, as a matter of fact. Catching a bit of a bid is Microsoft. I got into coin, I paid down to 50.07. Really, it's kind of inside this consolidation. I'm taking a leg. I'll get some out into I'll get some more into VWAP as it works to the upside. My first out, I'm looking for about 49.5. And then from there, obviously the low of the day sits at 48.5. That makes some sense as well.
All right, so we actually got a decent, I'm sorry about talking about the same names, but we got a decent reload there in Microsoft, see, in Apple as we went right back up to the upside right there. So again, more reloads right at the 50 level and then more outs down here. If I can just scalp this out, we'll do it, but I'm still holding on to a lot of shares, hoping for that downside push, man. As long as we stay underneath here on the 50 period for the NASDAQ, I think we're jamming. We're still red on the day. We could get that epic fall down, and if we get it, we do want to stay in this name. So obviously Apple with this market coming through and with a couple big days for tech reports, right? Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta last week. If I keep going, I'm gonna forget about more. AMD coming tomorrow. There's lots of names that are coming through. AMC, big tech names, O'Neill.
I know, I'm just messing with you when I say it.
All right, let's check out XOM. XOM to the downside today. Again, got a downgrade just after hitting its highs of 120. Catches that downgrade, now down 3%. See, this is the problem. Like, we got another bad wick there, so we'll have to look again just to see what it's been doing today. All right, so we like that 115. I mean, that's exactly where it's at right now. What a pretty epic fall. Starts off to get nice move back, man. Tries to gain some of that back and doesn't do it. Fails again. And then right here was the missed opportunity at 116.50 because kept on sort of finding its levels there. And then the move happened all the way down flush. Pretty much $1.50 straight down there. Finds a base at 115. Makes a move, and that still seems to be one of those bases. So, you know, not really barcoding, not really giving us a trade here on XOM, but I think you buy it when it's down here. Where's the 50 period? Yeah, so on the daily chart, you got pretty close there, 113 maybe, 112 back into here, maybe this consolidation of 110. So I like XOM. Monster buyback on board, same as CVX. They're just cruising. I mean, when oil is like the hot thing to talk about, then obviously these names continue to go, and it's been pretty hot lately there with oil. As you can see, the M contract is what we're trading, and right now you had a nice little move up to 75, 76 here for the M contract after making that bottom. Remember, we're closed at 230, so now it's closed. You see some big volume spikes right here in that, so now closed, now just electronically trading. So watch out for oil to go, and I do like CVX. I like XLE, I like all of that, but for right now, we're in the only position that we're in, and it's a doozy right here, hopefully, is Apple. Take another bid at 32 if we can get it. There it is. Let's come to the downside. Apple, next bid is at 20.
Yeah, I just added to coin. It doesn't want to give it to me above that 50 level, so kind of into VWAP there, so I just added as it started to break down. Wanted to get some more as he heads down to 49.50. I don't want to completely ignore the stock, but I'm not going to, GDC, I know it's moving, and it's not very often that we see like a percentage up and it just says 1.14K. That's weird formatting, but yes, it is up over 1,000% this stock. I don't think I will be trading it. As a matter of fact, I think I can definitively say I will not be trading it up here. But it was $2.50. It is now $31. The last halt was a 23 halt, and it opened back up. It's actually holding the top end of the range here. So this is your small cap du jour, small low floater of the day. Maybe it goes to 50, maybe it goes to 100. Same thing I always say, if you trade it, have a stop. If you short it, good luck to you. And know when everyone broke taking profits. These go up, they come down really quickly. Just look at top, how quickly that one came to the downside. Didn't last very long. So just try to be cautious with them. Not something I will be trading. Short in the market right now, it is trying to catch a bit off 13.3 in the NASDAQ. Microsoft, there's another way I could be looking at this. And again, I keep trying to get rid of that wick, but there you go. Now I can get rid of it. So 305.75 just held that bottom. It plays back into VWAP. This could end up just being a short off of like 307 and VWAP as well. So 2 active shorts that we just got into in the afternoon, NVIDIA and Coin, but I do like Microsoft's weakness as well. It certainly sets up like one. I have not looked at Tesla, Brad, who just said short Tesla. I have not really looked at Tesla, still at that 31 level. Okay, well, I know a certain somebody who's going to have something to say about Tesla, so this is the perfect segue for you, Brad, because I'm pretty sure Brennan and our guest, Danielle Shea, will have something to say about TSLA.
Yeah, as promised, Danielle Shea, it's Monday, so we get to get a little bit of a forecast as to what is happening in the week. It's Danielle Shea, VP of Options at Simpler Trading, back with us again for, as I said, a bit of a forecast here, but it's going to be not as busy as last week on the earnings front, but still obviously some huge monster names to come. I want to get to that in a sec, however. We'll talk about Apple and AMD, but let's start things off with this banking note that we get this morning again. At the end of last week, I mean, we talked about it a little bit when you were on last Monday, but at the end of last week, it looked like we were going in this direction as far as Thursday, Friday was concerned for FRC. And then this morning we get this note on JP Morgan. There's a lot of people I saw right away kind of cautionary on this as to what it might mean going forward with relation to the rest of regional banks specifically. But give me your take here on this, JP Morgan picking up the pieces for FRC.
Well, I have a couple things to say about this. Number one, if you look at the overall indexes, I mean, they haven't even blinked, right? It's the third bank failure and nobody cares by now, right? That to me is just craziness. So that at this point is just, I guess, priced into the market. There's no more fear. You have the VIX down below January of 2022 levels. But when you look at JP Morgan in particular, I mean, we had talked earlier in the season about how JP Morgan is my favorite bank. I think it's the best of the big banks. I think that their leadership overall is very strong. I think that they're really the best stock as far as, trading and then also investing longer term as well. So I'm not really surprised that JP Morgan picked up the pieces here. I am a little surprised that the indexes weren't demonstrating any kind of fear. But hey, I don't think this is over, but in good news for us, it looks like the market is done panicking about it.
Yeah, it seems like the story goes on, it would appear, I guess the second or third time around in this case. Everyone just kind of shrugs it off. Let's do that then and move on. Let's talk the Fed, because it's going to be a big week, obviously, for the overall market. Specifically, let's focus on the NASDAQ with interest rates in mind. It looks like, again, today we're above 90% as far as a chance for a 25% hike once again. Do we finally hear some sort of talk toward maybe a pause? And if so, what are you buying first, Ms. Shea?
I would hope so. And I would hope that the Fed would pause after another bank failure, but they didn't last time. So, I think they seem to be a little behind. When you're looking at the Fed this week, I do think that this is a week that we can look at and we can say for the first time, it doesn't really, to me, evoke the fear emotion, because it seems to me like we're pretty much expecting that 25-point hike. We're pretty much expecting that to be the last one. So I don't think that there's any major, risk of like a half-point hike or anything like that. I think if anything, we could get a good upside surprise. For example, maybe if they didn't hike, or if they say, hey, guess what? This is the last time. The data has been coming through, yada, yada, yada. So I think this time in particular, I'm erring more on the side of it could be good news. With the VIX as low as it is, we've gotten through a lot of these major tech earnings reports. The market's holding up really well. I'm crossing my fingers that we can get some continued upside. As far as what I want to buy, definitely looking at a lot of the tech stocks. I mean, I did buy some more Amazon, I bought some more Google. I think that, comparatively, the NASDAQ is still down, more than the S&P and more than the Dow. So I was picking up some more QQQs. I would love to see the semiconductors continue trading higher, such as, AMD. Qualcomm's a little shaky right now, but I am going to be buying some more AMD as well.
Yeah, mere 4.5% today for NVIDIA as well.
Yes.
Just an absolute monster. So I want to get to AMD in a second here, because overall the market's been, just stuck in this really, really tight range going into what would appear maybe, hopefully, this week when we get, some sort of resolution possibly to the upside or downside. And as you said, it's going to be more maybe about, the comments that come along with it, the interest rate decision on Wednesday, not necessarily the interest rate hike itself, but will they actually point towards maybe that being it? We're seeing, I just noticed before you came on here, yields back to day highs, 10 years at 3.5, the 2 years at 4+. Once again, it's been a while since we've been up this high. So overall, the market seems to think that's going to be the case anyway. But as we said, let's shift focus a little bit. AMD up first this week, then we get Apple later in the week. AMD not necessarily catching all the headlines this year, but what are you expecting for them?
So, AMD is one where I'd really like to see buyers come in. I mean, it had an amazing run a couple of years ago. And then, of course, last year was pretty rough on the stock. But if you look at the fundamentals, I mean, they're very solid. The company's beat earnings 12 quarters in a row. The last 2 quarters specifically, they had very strong moves. We're starting to see that stock, shift into a bullish pattern again. So I'd really like for these earnings reports to come out and for investors to say, hey, guess what? Yes, the stock went a little bit crazy a few years ago, but this is a good company and there is reason to buy it. It's not, a teledoc. So I like AMD. I'm going to continue investing in it here. And I am going to trade the earnings report as well. I was thinking of probably selling some put credit spreads. It's typically what I like to do with that. As far as Apple is concerned, I'm an investor in this company as well. So I do own longer term shares that just kind of sit there that I don't, trade in and out of. And I will trade it also. Apple's a little bit more dicey for me because last quarter in particular, their earnings report was pretty weak. I mean, they missed EPS estimates. They came in lower in every single segment. They definitely were being hit by the overall macroeconomic conditions. I mean, people aren't going out and buying new iPhones and iPads and, stuff like that when they're being crushed by inflation. So it is a problem for Apple. But what's great about that stock is that even though EPS numbers weren't really great last quarter, the stock has still continued trading higher the entire quarter. And we're now, 10% off of all-time highs. So it's one of those things where I think that investors can look at the stock and say, hey, you know what? Times are a little bit challenging right now. They might come in a little bit on the weaker side, but we're still going to keep buying the stock because it's still a good long-term buy.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk at the beginning of the year. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of talk at the beginning of the year as to which area of the market may, lead things back to the upside. And it looks like, we've just resumed same old with big tech trying to, at least at this point. I was just double checking. We are still below, 175, that 170, 175 area for Tesla. I want to get your take on Tesla here as well as we head into a new week. There wasn't really much in the way of news catalysts once again today for it. But trying to stay positive here late in the day. What are you thinking this week for Tesla?
All right, let me see. I got to check out my charts on this one because when you're looking at the Tesla chart, longer term doesn't look good, right? On the weekly chart pattern, we've shifted, we've broken down. If you switch over to a daily chart, this last move that we had, we broke down on, it was the 5th of April, where we broke down below the 50 simple. That's where we really shifted into an overall bearish trend. However, I will point out some areas of Fibonacci support that I have. When you look at this current swing that we're in, okay, the high from March 31st down to the recent low 3 days ago, that move was almost exactly the same as the move we saw from February 16th down to about March 13th. So after that February to March move, we had a pretty big pullback, but then the stock was able to trade higher again. Right now, we had a pretty big pullback. Is it going to be able to trade higher again like it did just recently? Yeah, it's a little dicey here for me, and we're sitting at this 155, about 150, 155 area of support. The way that I'm looking at this is, I've got a Fibonacci buy set up. It could possibly be traded up into, let's call it 169, but honestly, in the longer term, it's in a downtrend now, and if it breaks that small support zone that I have between 150 and 155, that's a flush zone right there. If it breaks that level, I mean, at that point, you're down to 140, maybe even 130, because there's just no support left. That's like the last line in the sand that I have. I heard the guys talking about them wanting to short it. I definitely think it makes sense to short it, especially on a shorter term time frame. Especially now that it's traded up into 165. So I don't know. I hope you're able to follow all of that. But in summary, it's on the last zone of support that I have. And if that goes, it's going to be sad.
Yeah, it's, you make a great point. Below that 170, it's clearly lower lows and lower highs versus the opposite direction. Unfortunately, a lot of people hoping and cheering maybe for Elon and Tesla to get back above that. I think we got to really get back above and stay above that 170 before we can say, it's reversed once again and going back to the upside. Great stuff. Big week to come, obviously, with the overall market. More big-time tech earnings to come as well. Danielle Shea's VP of Options over at Simpler Trading. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Danielle. I had a funny feeling that that might be what the comment about Tesla there, because it's been trending down. You can sort of see it on the chart. The price doesn't lie. You can think anything you want fundamentally or opinions about the company, but ultimately we've seen Tesla be under a little bit of pressure here. Not so much Meta, which was my segue to Meta is it's bouncing back up and back at 242, by the way. So market getting a little bit of a bid underneath as the NASDAQ tries to go back to, I was about to say green, but let's just say flat, because that's essentially what it is. Like, it's not like we've been up that much in the NASDAQ, so if it were to go 1%, that'd be crazy today, the way that's been inside. So Meta's back into that 242 zone. That 242.30, that's kind of what was resistance on Thursday. That turned into support. I'm looking for that fade. Oh, is it turning now? I thought we'd get a little tighter to that level. Maybe I'll just try to take 242s. Okay, stop talking first and just try to get in. There we go. So I was kind of looking for this maybe to go into the 242.30 range, but I'll just take the 42. Get in a little bit early. I haven't really added too much to Coinbase just yet. I'm trying to get more in front of 290 short on NVIDIA if I can. But yeah, back into that Meta as it retests that level from, if you're looking back, that'll be Thursday. That's this line. I keep drawing in and it keeps disappearing. So Thursday's high. And then when I zoom back in, you can sort of see like it pulls, kind of breaks that support level, pulls right back into it. I'll scalp it into 241 and try to hold on to a piece for VWAP. So let's see if this heads back in. The way that we turn around, I just feel like the short into these levels makes a little bit more sense. I kind of know where I can be wrong here, which is always a good starting point. I like to know where I'm going to be wrong. So if we can't hold the line, then I just get out. That's the easy thing about drawing a line in the sand, right? At least you have to have an idea of what wrong is going to be, or it just gets.
It's all about a reference point.
Well, sorry, what's
that?
That's
a reference point. Like, what are you looking at?
Pivot
where? Yeah, exactly. So thanks, Daniel Shea. Pivot points. Yeah, whatever, man. I mean, that's part of technical analysis, and putting up some Fibonacci's always helps.
I know they're your favorite, Sean, so I wanted to make sure.
Yeah. I'm going to actually go over some Fibonacci's right now. No, I'm not. But okay, so.
Aren't you though?
Meanwhile, we averaged into the short here on Apple as it's continuing to go to the downside. We did take one out as it did get near that 60 area, so we did take it out. But now you're seeing it fall back down a little bit. We did average into this position as well. I need Danielle Shea on more often, dudes, because she just said, hey, I think shorting Apple's a good idea. And since she said that, here's the move down. Obviously, I wish that she had that kind of power on the market, but thank you so much, Ms. Danielle Shea, for at least creating some kind of action here for me on Apple. But there's AMD, reshorted it. this is cleaner, so we can look at AMD maybe a little bit better. AMD went up. This is this is a new position. It came up into VWAP, into the 200. And again, our average position here is 76. We're going to get out. If it took down, my out's 86. So about 10 cents worth of a trade there. And nice to see this in the money at 2-1 right now. So we'll put another bid here at 52. See it? Ooh, I was going to say, see if we can get that, but there's a little bit of a bump up. What's been really taking my lunch today with Microsoft has also been Apple. So the two big ones today, we fight the market, and the market's won here again. It never loses. So that's one thing you have to remember. Just a matter of, are you with it or against it? And today, yeah, we're not with it. So hopefully this can continue to pull down. We just said Apple was making a move down, so we did cover some of that. We just put a bid here at 45. Some of our covers not much better, man. It does go down as low as 36, 37, so I'm going to put a bid there now so we can get that if it does come back in. But for right now, just trying to get some more outs, 45s. And then, I actually have a bid already at 38, so hopefully that can come out. But look, when I'm short, the market just continues to go up, so don't worry about it. It will continue to do that. Yep. And here's the move down again on the NASDAQ. Just bouncing off 13,000 again. There's 13,000 right here. So you could draw a line. It hasn't been super key today for sure. But every time we get around there, there's a little bit of action. Downside move, bounced off it here, downside. Nothing really as we open the day, which was a little disturbing. And then, here's the downside continuation. Here it is. Break. Test it back, break higher. And what we're doing right now is I guess we just broke it, but this little test back didn't quite get there. So you'd like to see it get there in order to understand that some of these trades aren't going to blow up in your face. But right now, there goes Apple right back up here. We're going to be out of this one soon if we take this view up of 70. So watch out for Apple highs there. AMD still seems to be working to the downside. But again, like we were just getting some out at 54, and there's the retracement right back up. So like to see a fail here at 13,320 on the NASDAQ.
There was a question in the chat. I thought I had the name, but I might have just missed it. About ON Semiconductor. Now, not a name that we discussed pre-market. They were one of the earnings names, obviously. And I just noticed that it kind of got to 79 here and turned around. Worth noting, it broke the 50 period today. Didn't even realize that had happened on the stock. Up 9% ON is, so that's a pretty strong move. Here I'm thinking NVIDIA is doing this thing by itself, but ON, big strong move, broke to 50. It just turned around with a wick top at 79, but that 50 period sits at 78. A close above there is pretty darn bullish. If it does reject 78, that's a pretty monster level. You go from the 200 to the 50, 70 even, right into like a 10% move. I could see some profit taking here, but as long as it's above 78, that's a pretty good hold. It's projected to 50 period the last time it was here and trended down. So I think that's the key line in the sand for ON. I didn't read through the report, so I can't sit here and give you anything more than that because it wasn't a name that I was focused on this morning. But yes, good earnings for them. I just reloaded, as I said, NVIDIA in front of 290. Wow, that 290 level looks like it's pretty good. I'm going to try to get some out here on the bid. Come on, fill me up. Just trying to get some down in front of 289 here. Still like 87 for an ultimate target, but as quickly as I put the bid in, it immediately starts coming right back into the upside. I just grabbed some 80s there. So let's see if NVIDIA can continue to kind of reject that 290. Did break it once, got to 50, stopped out, and then reshorted the level. It ends up getting all the way to 88. I held on. Now I'm going to try and rinse and repeat. This market, if we want to hold the top end of the range here or hold a range for the afternoon in the market overall, I could see NVIDIA holding an 88 to 90 price area. That would make some sense, and I'll try to short inside of it. I suppose the long could be opened up at 288 as well. So coin, Meta could be the one to struggle, and then NVIDIA to the south side. I am still holding on to Intel, but I have bids on the way down. It's not anywhere near a re-entry point for me. And if you're still watching, just for what's in giggles, GDC.
Uh-oh, GDC.
Yeah, you know me. Up 1.2, so 1,200%. And near the high of the day, not at the high of the day, but near the high of the day. Somehow hasn't halted in the last hour or so because reasons, or half an hour I should say. But if it takes out 35, I'm guessing it's going to halt if it takes out 35. We're into power hour now, so the same rules for these halts occur. If it halts in the last 10 minutes, wait for 4 o'clock and then it'll open back up. I don't want to trade this, but with less than 1 million floats and no reason or no news on it, then that's the recipe apparently to be up 120,000 million%.
Yeah, I got to find those.
whatever that.
Yeah. Everybody's job is to tell us to tomorrow. What is the 800%?
Just close eyes and just do this.
Right now. Well, I feel like there's a way to figure it out. Just Hong Kong, figure out that, and then you can get that winner back into your accounts as well, and then tell us what ones are the right ones. Again, trying to take profits, but nothing is falling down here today. London Bridge not falling today, as it just seems to be holding up. So here we go, man. The NASDAQ wants to hold out highs again. So yeah, we are going to get slipped up one more time here, it looks like, on Apple. As we continue to hold that short, it's right back to an area. We're going to give this to 70. If it breaks it, it breaks it. We're gone on this name. I just cannot... we're below now the 50 period. We're still trying to break through 13.3, but it does look like we're holding on to that one, so nothing going on there. AMD, we do have our targets for this one out as well up here. So if everything just starts to rip up, we're going to get out of this all and just try to say, whatever, man, power hour. Not much powered up for me today. SoFi just goes SSR. I don't know if it was SSR earlier or not, but down there to 5. Well, if it's not the low of the day, then it's been SSR before, because there's 11% right now on SoFi. And no, it's low of the day was right there at, it already broke 551, so it went to 547 right there for SoFi. So it's been SSR all day, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Not SSR early, because we were up 6%. And then all of a sudden, those smarter than I sold off SoFi. And I wish that I would have been part of that group, because SoFi, again, nice report, was up about 6 or 7%, still prints that negative EPS and killed the rest of the day, down 11+% right now, as SoFi just still cannot figure itself out as this name continues to get beat up to the downside. I would say look for a short on this, but I don't know if it's going to move too much here, as it's 311 right now. Microsoft right back down. I mean, I'm short Apple, and it's just the wrong name. Again, it's just so frustrating, because everything else, man, everything else, I've been sitting here shorting Apple. If I just picked Microsoft, we'd be dollars in the money right now. I've been started this one since the beginning of the show. Microsoft, 307.40 all the way down, man, 306 and change. So frustrating, because here's what Apple looks like right now. It's just, sure, it's actually been down since 2 o'clock, so I take that back. But the last half hour, actually the last hour for Apple, just sort of ticking back to the upside. So we're getting close to getting out of this one. No moss anymore for Apple, man. How much pain can we take as Apple continues to sort of just go back and forth here? So strong day early on Apple, as we respected that 169. Just hasn't come into play for us right now. Thought we could get a dip buy back into that level. Then if the NASDAQ continued to go down, I was actually expecting a break of Apple. But see, shorting here was good until it was bad, then good. So everything was fine. Then a couple bad shorts into here, couple longs until we dropped it off. And now we're trying to catch that short back for Apple. I love the stock, and sort of what Danielle was saying there. I really like the stock long term. Been holding it for probably the longest time. But now let's just see what happens here. If the NASDAQ can fail back down, we definitely know we don't want Apple long. So market down 0.5, Apple down exactly the same. So come on, Apple, push yourself downside a little bit here, so we could take some bids out again, hopefully in the low 40s.
So I got out of Meta.
GDC
popping. So slap to fail on Meta, but good if you're long Meta, to be sure. You just saw it get past that line in the sand that I drew, so it broke back up. We'll come to the chart for a quick second. Had my short in the consolidation. It breaks back up. Sitting there fighting that one. Maybe it's the wrong one. At the same time, we're able to reload on NVIDIA. And, okay, well, don't need 2 offers there. There we go. That's the right one. Reloaded on NVIDIA in front of 290. Was able to get some out. 289. I got 289.32 there. Shout out to Magic Johnson. Legit. Top 5 point guard of all time. It doesn't really matter. So we get the consolidation
top
short
5.
That works on NVIDIA. Oh, sorry, top 5 player of all time. I shouldn't have said.
Point guard, yeah.
Yeah. It's because of a buddy of ours made a comment about Steph being potentially in the top 5. And I was like, top 5 point guards of all time, 100%. I agree with that. No. Just both these guys are telling me right now that Steph is better than Michael Jordan. And I don't even... Okay, anyways, moving on. NVIDIA. So I'm going to rinse and repeat.
Sometimes it's nice to take a hot take that makes no sense, right? You've seen Stephen A. Smith and all that stuff do the same thing, so I assume that's what they're doing.
That's fine. I know, sometimes a hot take can be fun, but when you start saying things like Steph Curry's better than Michael Jordan...
You lose credibility.
Steph Curry would laugh at that. I think we all know that. And he's an unbelievable player. He's the greatest shooter that ever lived. So 290 shorts on NVIDIA back into 289 is what I'm trying to chew through here. And all that bounce that you just saw in Meta, look at Coin just sort of hold the line. This is why I kept thinking I was gonna add into this in front of VWAP, but as the market's been fluctuating, Coin is just going sideways. And if you saw what happened this morning, look, Coin did well, it's not really a clean flat bottom break, but you see it break down that consolidation. It also broke down 51 here. So when I see that go, we've been talking about it doing this and then getting to the 50 level. Well, I'm sitting there fighting stocks that aren't at maybe the best levels in the world. Maybe, look, maybe Meta works, the short. Maybe it does. But Coinbase, if I'm going to die on a hill, let's die on a hill that is shorting Coinbase, which is down 7% today. You know, like I did not short Ride once today. We came with the news at 9:20 something. I paid for the locates, and the stock flushed. I just watched it go. On my 15-minute, it's all red candles, which meant it was tricky till about 40 cents. But I was like, it's too far. I'm not going to short it. But blah, 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 blah. And look at this darn thing. Like, how was I'm not shorting it now because it just bounced like 33%. Off of 25 all the way to 35. Like that's kind of, maybe if it gets to 40, I'd short this. But yeah, like don't fight strong stocks. Sometimes they get to monster levels and you got to do it. But other times, just don't do it. Because there was plenty of opportunities if you wanted to look for a weak stock. That's why I'm now on Coinbase, and let's just move on with that one. But I just noticed on Ride, if it does go if it goes to 40 cents, I'll probably take a shot at it, just noticing how strong that move. But now we're rolling over on Coinbase. I am bidding in front of 60s here. That's going to be first out. I'm shorting in the consolidation, but until it comes out, my first take is going to be 40 cents. Then we'll see if it can't get to 49 even. If the market rolls over, I know this one should be relatively weak. NVIDIA is kind of the same thing, only it's a key price level rejection at that 290. So it's an obvious level. 290, I'll probably take it every single time. This is literally the fourth time I've been short this price. We'll get some out in the bottom and then try to hold through as well. So we're just ringing the registers on a couple of shorts. We'll see how the market ends up. If it doesn't break the range, what are you going to do? Then we can scalp inside the ranges we're doing.
I'm just sitting here on the same shorts that we've been on this whole time. So if there's any sort of a talk, yeah, someone mentioned this. Come on, Apple, like just bring it to the downside and we'll just
bring it on down to Liquorville.
Yeah, bring it on down to. Yeah, I love that's the best, man. Justin Timberlake.
I gotta watch those again.
Yeah, bring it on down to. It's not Liquorville. It's
that's one of them, isn't it?
Maybe bring it. But
there's
on
a
down.
bunch of them.
Bring it on down.
That's because Liquorville's the one with Lady Gaga.
Man, there's
and
a bunch
dressed as a wine bottle.
Yeah, there's.
Right?
That's a great one. That's a great one. Shout out to JT.
She's funny, man. She's funny
for all that. Yeah, that's bring it on down to.
What's
maybe
the
it is
first
Liquorville.
one?
Maybe it is. Thinking it's something else there, man.
It's gonna bug me.
Oil tanker explodes in South China Sea. Okay,
no.
well, that could be a bad one
That's
for oil. Right now, we can look at that. What's up, Joseph Nunez? Not really moving right there. Crude oil. Bring it on down to.
I don't want to look it up because it'll bug me if I look it up.
Yeah, me too. Okay, let's just go on what's going on. So we can look at something else. Oh, Amazon.
Is one
That's
of them
what we
literally Homelessville?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. I don't think that's true, Dan.
Bring it on. Man, I can't look. All right, it might just be liquor every time, man. So, okay, just looking at Amazon, we talked about that breakdown from the earlier on move. Again, a second day move here today happening for Amazon, down that 3%. We saw Microsoft extend itself over the last couple of days to the upside, so it wouldn't surprise me if Amazon does completely retrace this whole move. Forget about this move. That move never happened. It did happen. Can't say something didn't happen when it happened, but it did happen in the post-market that day. Once the number came out, then we heard about AWS and it flushed right down. So we're going to find out right now what happens. 106, 108, failed up top. This is where we try to get that short, but didn't come in today, and now it's a downside push. I still think you got this right here. 95, 96, possible 98. Like, where do we stop on Amazon? I think we just continue to go to the downside, man, for now. Not a good report and being punished for it. I mean, if you could put your money into Meta or into Microsoft or possibly even into Apple in the next couple of days, where would you rather be? Let's wait for that Apple report. I think Amazon continues to get hit here and, could retrace the rest of its move back down into 100, and we'll check that out tomorrow. So down 3+% right there. Nice little bump up, but still, I like Amazon. It's just it's gotten hit off that number. So let's see. Pull back in 97.98. I could feel like that would be an area where we may stop this move. So, oh man, all right.
It is Homelessville, by the way.
Is it?
It really is.
Okay, so there you go. Okay. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's just a funny skit.
It is a funny skit. They'd have trouble putting that one on now, is my guess, because, you know, come on.
No, man. I don't think that woke hole. I think they can get.
You don't think that they would be all
No,
over
no.
that?
I've watched Saturday Night Live. They still do.
Okay, good.
They still do questionable things.
But Liquorville's the one I like. It's
Me
like,
too.
Every time
they're
I
dressed
step up in the building, the alcohol level goes up.
Yep. No, I got to rewatch that. Oh, my wife
Those are fire.
There was a Schlitz gay beer one with Adam Sandler and Chris Farley, because we talked about it the other day about Budweiser, and I'm not trying to get political. It's just that was one of the funniest. Someone sent it to me and said, this is the original. And it's like Chris Farley and Adam Sandler, they're like pushing their glasses down, and it's just hilarious. They're around a pool with a bunch of dudes. It's one of the best.
SNL.
It's just so funny, man. Schlitz gay, it's called.
There was a few obvious, like SNL early, Eddie Murphy, obviously Bill Murray, those guys, those cats, and then the Adam Sandler, Chris Farley. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not good now.
I thought Norm Macdonald was great as the news anchor there.
There's an Eddie Murphy one, and I won't. So Eddie Murphy's the reggae
At Christmas.
band.
Oh, I think
you know the one I'm thinking about. No, the one where it's like
the reggae band one. I'll have to find out.
Essentially, he's a reggae band, and if you look it up, you guys will be able to see. I sang it once around a couple of friends of mine, and they were like, "You can't do that." I'm like, "Yes, I can." So look it up if you can. I'm not going to say it here because I don't want to offend anybody. But KTWP is the acronym. NVIDIA just printed 289, so we'll continue to ring the bell on that one. As now, all I'm thinking about is that Liquorville and Homelessville, because I love SNL, man. I love when you do comedy that pushes boundaries, because that's the whole point. But 49.60, I still can't get any fills on Coinbase. It's working to the downside, but I was super stubborn with this in terms of waiting for my prices earlier today, and I feel like that was, like, it worked out, but should I be doing it? So I'm going to take a chance to maybe trim some 80s here. If it's only going to be a 20-cent range, fair enough. It's also 320, by the way, so we're getting a little bit later on in the day. And when it gets to the end of the day, you got to do things like get positions out. Like, what the, like, seriously, Intel? I'm waiting at 33. It bounces off 35. I'm just going to get another bid out here on Intel. I got a 30-10 bid that I feel like is a waste of my time, but there's no point. There's been nothing for me to get in on. I broke the low of the day. I started working in. Then I waited for it to go over, hold a trend. It held a trend. I added to it. It held VWAP. I added to it. And then I was really starting to get out as it got to the lows, but I mean, it's not really doing anything right here, so we're just going to be able to hold it. Ride is flying still? Is that really still going up? No.
Well, maybe. I mean, it bounced off 25 cents.
Yeah, it's at 35. 40 is the level, man. Like, when it got to 40, it went sideways for like an hour.
There goes Apple.
And then flushed again. So if this goes another 10%, maybe it's worth it. By the way, Bed Bath & Beyond, I am going to cancel my... Okay, at 3:30, I'm going to cancel my 10-cent breakdown order, because at some point either it breaks or doesn't. And we're running out of time for that to fill. NVIDIA, how many times am I going to go to this well? At least one more time. I'm going to get back. I just missed this one going over to Coinbase to change orders. But I'm going to go at least one more time here on NVIDIA at that 290. I always do this. Forget the decimal. But let's see if we can't get this one working. Just a couple more times here as we get into 330. If there's a big imbalance, that'll be the first time in a long time. So I'm not terribly concerned about it, because we've had tiny imbalances recently, and we're holding this range. I mean, it's something super strong. I would say Meta. I had one short on Meta in the afternoon and it lost, and it's holding 242. So the long I would play, I mean, I'm sitting in NCLH, but if you're looking for something to break, like Meta suddenly, pretty much exactly where we're short, that's now that support, like that 242 level is turning into support on Meta. That feels like it's going to be the one if you're looking for a long play here into the close. If the NASDAQ wants to go green, fine, but I don't know. The ES is weaker than the NASDAQ. It's almost like the shorts should be somewhere else, as I sit here in tech shorts.
Down 2%, NVIDIA bouncing off at 290, Amazon still there as well. Apple we got stopped out of the majority of our Apples. It took 70s. We're going to give it a little bit more, but not really doing too much. And then AMD not stopped out of AMD. We're just keeps on averaging into this AMD short here. I mean, if the market does collapse here, we still have 8. It's only 323 right now. So, you know, possible action to come into the close. Still looking for some downside moves here into the close. You know, you're below. You're at that 13.3. We've already probably put in the high of the day there. Just waiting to see if we continue to, you know, bleed here on the NASDAQ. And I don't know. See, like there's that wick higher, getting us stopped out of 75% of our Apple trade there. You know, trying to see if this wants to go down. Doesn't look like it wants to do that. Alibaba down 0.5% right now. We can go over to Tesla if you guys want. Lucid down as well. TSLA. Don't make that mistake. People have shorted Tesla, the other one, TLSA before. We saw that happen.
Yeah. You know
okay, so down 2%. Again, way more aggressive than the market today. The market's flat. This name down. So that's definitely something to look out for here. We talked about this a little bit with Daniel Shea. Again, Tesla, I don't know, even on a 20-minute chart, still not doing too much. You have that top of 166. That's going to come into play, 168, 169 possibly. Yeah, coming in. So we'll watch out for it. But right now, it's Tesla, some downside action, down 2%. So, you know, check out that. Lucid also with its day today, not good, down 10% for Lucid again. Like some of these names just can't get them, down 8%, sorry, can't get out of their own way. They just continue to fall down. The Lucid, the only time that these guys got back going was here when we had that talk about, and then my chart's probably going to low down to the bottom, so hold on a second. Let me just do this. We had that talk just now it feels like a couple months ago. Yeah, back in January, right there. Man, that was fun. I remember we shorted Rivian when this move went all the way up to the upside there. That was that Saudi news, but you're right back into some levels where that news came in the first time. So, you know, could come in again right now, but that was back at $9. That very bottom of Lucid, $6.15. Like if Ride is a going concern, I just worry because, you know, we saw what happened to Credit Suisse when the Saudis, and that's going to be an NY, when the 87 cents now, wow, when the Saudis backed away and said no more deposits for Credit Suisse. They're not going to continue to fund that deposit. You know, this has been a great downside move. Well, we could just check out our chart right there on Credit Suisse. Like, you know, when they were in trouble, this was that Saudi news, $2 all the way down here. And I know there's been more news about it, but it's just down here to $84 is Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, all in talks, of course. But, you know, that's what happens when your deposits get pulled. We saw FRC, we saw SIVBQ, and then now I don't wonder about Lucid because I don't know what the story is, but what happens if that Saudi sort of basement is now no longer there. So watch out for this move here on Lucid. And we just did get, you know, we got a 70 fill there on 73 fill there on AMD, but I don't know if this is going anywhere. Reloaded 82, 83. Our average price here is 80s short on AMD, hoping for a downside push now.
Exactly. And while I have you here, we have 3 minutes until we get the imbalance, early indication on the imbalances. However, for those of you that want to see GDC get to 2,000% to the upside,
yes,
which would be pretty interesting if it got to $50. All you got to do is...
Hola, like and subscribe today.
Because in no way is it actually true, but I'm just going to say it anyways. When we get more likes, stocks like GDC tend to go higher. Now, I think it's more that people get excited when they move, and a couple of people might have them long in here, but it just broke out again. I'm not trading it. I'm not short the stock. I'm not long it. I'm not pumping it. I'm just letting you guys know it broke 35, got to $44 even, and is consolidating higher. There has not been a halt down on, like it's halting up, and then every time it looks like it's about to flush or give it up, outside of one halt down at noon, it's just every pullback has been bought up just enough to hold the stock up. It's pretty amazing to see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, betting, I don't know. Meta is at 242. So I'm giving this to 330. Usually, if it gets this close to the end of the day, we close it up. But given it's holding this level so tightly, I feel like we can give it to 330. So if you have any change, you want to get your bets in for the points, Meta above or below. Will it close above 242? Yes or no? Simple proposition. It's tight enough to that level. I'll just close it up in about 90 seconds. I just have NVIDIA, the 290 short. Coin looks like I was probably right to get more aggressive with the bids. It's at the top end of the range, so I added to it. Now time is going to force me to get out of this if it gets to VWAP. I can't carry this to 51. There's not enough time for that kind of a move to ensue. So now I have to bid out underneath 50 the second it gets there. I'll trail intel. I'm canceling my stop short for Bed Bath & Beyond. We'll come back to this one tomorrow maybe for that 10-cent break. Of course, you know what? I'll just give it a few more minutes. Because the last time I did this, I had to stop to go short on a flat bottom break on Bed Bath & Beyond. I canceled it at about this time, and then it filled. I canceled it, then 2 minutes later, it broke down, and it was a great short. I actually still had my Microsoft for that break of 305.75. That just took out the low. If you're watching, okay, yeah, I still have that wick there. That's 305.75, the morning low. On softs, he just got taken out. So you want a name, like this is literally just breaking the low as we speak on Microsoft. I'll give this back to like 306. So let's see what happens. I'm looking for the rollover at this particular point. As you can obviously see, the only thing that I'm holding to the long side is NCLH, but that's one I got into a while ago, actually near the open at 14 even. One reload in the middle of the day in front of 14, but that's pretty much it. And matter of fact, I'm going to tighten my trailing stop because it stopped moving.
All right, yeah. I mean, trailing Titans 40 at GDC. Wow, crazy. Yeah, what's up, Morris? Man, shout out to everybody there. We only have one real Instagram account. If you're not following the right one, then you're not going to be attacked, or you will be attacked if you're not following the right one. It's at Trader TV Sean. It's just really that simple. Not too many followers. I actually have to refresh this. Not too many followers on Instagram. It's more. There it is right there. This is Noodles. I don't know if you guys know who he is, Noodles and O-Dog. Right there. We did a throwback Thursday as well. Thanks for that. This is me and my kid. We were back at the, now he's old. Now he's 11. Can't even hold him like that anymore. Wow, it just makes me sad. But anyways, find me on, there's some fake accounts here as well. Find me on Instagram. It's almost 6,200 followers, and I got to change this actually. It's not 22 years, but it's just Trader TV Sean. I don't know how else to tell you that, and you can just try to find it, get accurate on it, and that's what that is. And then also on Twitter as well, it's the same. This is a little harder for them to mimic because we have 40,000 followers right now. So, keep an eye on that account, and hopefully you don't get, again, sort of bamboozled. Neil, myself, everybody here at Trader TV Live, Brendan, we will not, be asking you guys for Bitcoins or anything like that. Although, however, send me your Bitcoin. No, don't do that. Any stretch of the imagination. We will not ask you guys for anything. So
we just want likes.
Yeah, just hit the like button,
Apple
hit
fritters.
everything like that. Apple fritters you could be sending. It is Cinco de Mayo. We talked about hopefully having a taco Friday type of thing happening here. I'm going to a taco event at Hotel X on Friday, so that should be funny. I've actually never been there, just off the lakeshore here in Toronto. Apparently a beautiful place. So Cinco de Mayo happening on Friday.
Guess what's halted down and ends in DC? GDC is now halted down, but I have to answer this super chat. Thank you, Nathan Wilder. Why can't you just short GDC and hold it for a week until the craziness dies down? I don't fully understand why that wouldn't work. So, that works. Again, we're day trading, so we couldn't do this. But the reason that's not so obvious to do is, well, last time I checked, to go short, you have to, you're going to be in an emergent account, and if it goes too far against you, you get a call, you get liquidated. So if anybody remembers HKD, because this is sometimes the best example to use in a situation like this is the most extreme one to make a point.
Yep.
And HKD, there's no better example of this than HKD. I'm going to let this one load up. So if you said to yourself, when HKD was going absolutely nuts, I'm just going to hold it till everything dies down. Well, this started at about $10. The first break was, this is $70 in here. So once it was above and breaking 100, you're like, yeah, this is over. It's going to come back to the downside. Okay, well, it did calm down. However, if you shorted the 100, it wasn't any good until, July to September. It just lasted too long. It just blew people out, and too many margin calls. It doesn't always work out for you. Now, if you had a crystal ball to be able to say, I'm going to short it when it gets to 2,000, as opposed to when it got to 100.
Congratulations!
I know everyone sits there like, yeah, man, if you just knew it was going to be 2,000, it's just not that simple. People have done this and gotten absolutely destroyed. And yes, when it works, it's gorgeous. Like there were traders on Twitter that were honest. I saw a couple of them out there that, sort of talked about being short on top last week, and that burned some people. And if you shorted 40 here, congrats. Maybe you're going to win on the trade. But if you shorted top under similar circumstances last week, is this one to load up? Okay, well, that was not easy. Like it halted up multiple times. Maybe you started in short at 150 and you couldn't carry it to 250. And that's it. Was it right? Yes. Could you have won? Maybe. But not everybody could win. Some people, that was too far for their account and they got burned. And that's why it's not so simple. When you look at the hedge funds that lean on stocks that are shorted forever as it goes up, that's because they have hold it forever money. And that's the long and short of it. That's why they can do those types of things, because when you got billions and billions, like there are hedge funds that were short Tesla pretty much from the original $300 or like lower prices than that, all the way through multiple splits. They might have trimmed the position here or there, but they stayed net short because they have gobbles and gobbles of money to be able to do that. And for the average retail trader, you just can't do it. For us, obviously, we just can't do it because we're day traders. And we have to be flat at the end of the day. So, and not to say that I would do it if I could. But anyways, that's pretty much it. So Microsoft, relatively tight stop going into this going into the last 15 minutes before the imbalances. I'm short when it took out or touched the low of the day, 315.75. I got 73 short. So we're in that one. NVIDIA continues to work off the 290 level. Might not get another reload at that one. Now it's headed down. I like 287. I might have to accept 288 if that's all we can get. This at least has been flush city off that 290. That's been a good level. And certainly working to the downside as we speak. We'll see if Softy wants to join this party of the short side. Coins still pretty much, I'm short at 50, it's at 50.20. I might just need to get out of that one. It doesn't seem to be moving that much anymore.
No, yeah, we'll ring a little bit of register right now on Apple as it's making a move down. And again, we did get stopped out of half of our trade. We talked about that. And then we reshorted a little bit more, and now Apple's coming back down. But I'm already dejected with some of this trading here today, because I hate when we're just in these stupid ranges, honestly. Feels like we've been like that for a little while now, but nothing we can do. You trade what's in front of you, and that is that. So right now, Apple pulling back, and so we're trading that, and here's a nice move. So we're short 67, it's at 50, so that's a good little move for us. And then we're short at 80 right here on AMD, and AMD has been sort of tricky. Like, it's just going back and forth here. Like, we just got a bunch of fills there in the mid 60s, and now here I am taking some more out in the mid 70 or low 70s right now. So, we're only short at 80. It looks like the best we've been able to get out here is 60s for AMD. Just trying to short some of these pops as we go. PDD positive today, Lyft positive today. Ford breaks above $12. We can look at that quickly here for F.NY. Not here, so tab NY. We'll have to get it. Oh, that's strange. I've never seen a name not in, but maybe single letters have a problem. But right now, Ford, yeah, it's not going to do anything throughout the day, but we did talk about that earlier. Oh, it did have a nice little bump to start the day there. We missed that one. Nice Ford up to 12.30. Now fading back in. I'm still waiting for that 11.50. Just an interesting name. I thought maybe it was moving a little bit more than it was, and it's not. We had GM was up a couple percentage points earlier on this morning, and it's given back some, if that's right. Anyways, yeah, 1.39. So just like some of the names today, beautiful morning to start. And then the give back right there. So we'll watch out for GM earnings coming on this name, I believe. Is it now? It was, no, April 25th. We've already had earnings, right? It was battery news and whatnot. So we'll wait to see what happens there with GM. Looks like it wants to break down through 33.50, but some stuff has come back in. Some trades have come back in, some names coming back in. We're going to take another 51 out here for Apple. Let's see if this wants to fall down. No idea what's happening right now with AMD. It's holding out highs.
Yeah, I mean, really, Coinbase.
Another bid.
I keep looking at Coin because that doesn't want to go down. Meanwhile, Softy's starting to print, as that's now at 305 quarter. So I'm going to try to get another leg out at that quarter level. There we go. Just got that fill. It's starting to really flush. NVIDIA is really starting to turn over here. It was a buy imbalance. I mean, I don't know. It's 614 to buy as you really look, But that's what just happened on NVIDIA. It just got back to that 288.5 zone, so that continues to maybe turn into the downside. Whatever happened to Meta, let me double check. I'm not in Meta anymore, but that just turned back beneath 242. So literally everything is turning around except for, like, what is my Coinbase doing? Like, Coin, okay, I mean, I'm short in the range. I took one out basically flat, and it's still holding. So I might end up with a flat trade. Maybe Coin just fell so far, it can't fall any further. And like, there was a good point by Momo. Like, if you don't realize like why it doesn't work to just short something like that that's going parabolic, you don't understand liquidation. However, my approach here is like reason every single time there's one of those, we'll literally talk about the most basics in terms of take profit where you can, don't trade without a stop, maybe don't touch it at all. Because I would rather say that 1,000 times or 100,000 times than see one person blow their account up trading something that is nonsense, and quite frankly, it's a bit of a gamble. And you can make money doing them, but there's very specific plays that I know people that are really experienced doing it. They get in early and they just kind of get out and take their profit, give a little for the home run ride, and they do a lot of research into which ones they think are going to go. That's not what we do here. I'm not trying to pump and dump. I'd just rather not see people getting burned thinking, is it going to come down? Well, yeah, it probably will, but that doesn't mean you're just going to make money if you short it. And that's a lesson that I'd rather nobody have to learn the hard way. If that's at all possible, sometimes that's how it is in this world, but I'd rather not see that be the case. So you'll see us consistently say the same things about those types of names, and we're probably not going to stop saying it because as long as it needs to be said, that's what we're here for. We're here for you guys. 10 minutes, guys and gals. 10 minutes until we get the imbalances. The shorts are good if you got them. Hold them if you got them. It's been a bit of a battle, but...
Oh, the Coinbase shorts.
No, not. Well, Coin's at the money for me. Every other short is printing right now. It's actually Coin that's not the best. But I just feel like the market's starting to come down.
Yep.
We're actually heading toward the low. It's been frustrating, but we're actually getting some movement finally and trend to the downside. And yeah, Matt Carnes, best advice if you're new to trading, don't mess with those types of stocks unless you fully understand the drive behind them. Dead on.
Yep,
but you shouldn't. That kind of goes for anything. Like, don't trade anything new if you don't understand it. Like you'll see us talk about Bed Bath & Beyond, it comes out of nowhere. We've traded names that are going under before. So when we don't touch one for a couple of weeks and then all of a sudden Bed Bath & Beyond comes around, we're like, oh, let's just trade that because we've done it before and we have experience with it. So, it's one of those things, like stay in your lane is a pretty valuable thing when it comes to trading. Trade what works for you. So we're going to Brendan at the desk.
Just seeing maybe one for tomorrow here, guys. Making a late day run. Yeah, it's another one of these crazy little tiny... Oh, wow. That can't be right. 113,000 shares. Wow. JXJT on a huge move.
No, there is not an actual publicly listed stock with 113,000 float. I refuse to accept that. That is completely absurd.
Well,
that is completely absurd.
You may have to accept that.
What are we even doing here? Like, you're just...
What was that name?
What?
JX what, Brendo? JXJC.
How is that even... So, I'm trying to wrap my head around how that... No.
J
Okay,
what?
so they reverse split. Okay, so it's a reverse split.
JT.
I can see how that would be. But why are you... Anyways, I'm not trying to rationalize it. Let me just shut up. Because
No, there's nothing... I mean, the thing is that... You got to watch out for these names. I mean, it is what it is, and unfortunately, there it goes right up to the upside. So people saying that maybe there was a reverse split or something.
It was a reverse split.
Okay, there was. So 83 cents. So you can't see here. 83 cents to the bottom, reverse split.
But still.
20 to 1, I guess, up to $5. No, what am I talking about? 20 to 1. 83 cents.
I see 40.
Was it 40? Oh, yeah, 40 cents. Yeah, sorry, 83 cents. Yeah, 40 cents up to, 10 to 1. So 10 to 1 and now blasting. So, yeah, you're right. So that definitely was that. And it would have split over last week.
Yeah, let's just let a 1 million float company
middle of the week.
Split.
And it's not, the thing is, it doesn't even really have 1 million shares out there because, like, by the time you reverse split and then people get the account, the shares in their account. I mean, it's a $10 name right now with a 60-cent spread with no liquidity. So, yeah, beware. Be very, very aware. AMD motoring to the top. I can't win, so it doesn't really matter.
NVIDIA just bounced.
Yeah, so there it goes. We were just cruising, man, and getting out of a lot up here. And then this happened. Like, as if, man, like we're just getting out at 60s and then it blows out the top here. We're getting out if this breaks 90. There's nothing I can do about it. Apple, same kind of way, but this was a little bit better because it hasn't blown completely up to the upside like AMD did. So we'll get another piece out here at 53, and thank you for that. Hopefully Apple will make a move down, but hey, wouldn't surprise me if for absolutely no reason it went right back up to the top. So, all right, we have our outs, and if they continue to go like this, then we can get our outs. It looks like we are going to be out right now of AMD if it breaks 90. We don't need to be in this name anymore because there it is. Break, fine, done on AMD. We made some money back, and then we just got stopped out of the rest as it takes up 90s. So, you know, good trading. And again, when you're short 80s and out in the 60s, you get out at 90 when it breaks, and you don't worry too much about it. Nice upside move there for AMD into the close. So it's probably going to come out a buy imbalance for AMD, and there it goes. We're out of it. Look at this, man. Wow. Straight up move there. Nice move on AMD right back up to the upside. It broke the level, and we down on that one.
Yeah, so same thing just happened to me. Like, as you were saying that, I got trailed out of NVIDIA here. So 289, I was holding it, maybe too greedy. I could have just covered at 288, but I tried to hold it for a bigger move into 87, and there's the trail out. Just too strong off that little bounce there. NVIDIA, a bit of a beast. So that'll leave me with Softy. That's still at the bottom of the range. I can tighten up that stop there. Probably give it to, going in imbalances in 5 minutes, I'll probably give it to 305.50. I got that 75. Sort of area short there, for lack of a better. It was an area short. It was like 305.75 is what broke. I ended up with like 73s. So not much slippage at all, but I'm going to hold on to this. It's at the low of the day, which to me means hold on to it. Coin, maybe not so much. Like, it's inside. Wow, like really, this is the day the coin goes sideways. And every single time it looked like it was turning, I was adding to this position. But it doesn't look any good. I'm going to tighten up. Forget about VWAP. This goes another 10 cents. I'm just going to get out. There's no need. I'm not dying on that sword today. If it didn't want to flush when the market was coming down here, then it doesn't make any sense. Like, coin tomorrow, look, if coin tomorrow is going to be challenging that 50 level for a breakdown, we'll come back to that one tomorrow. Because I think it's, if we do not hold 50 here, like, why isn't Coinbase going down to like $40? I mean, like, this was a $30 stock, and it's been trending to the downside, you know, for the last little bit here and really starting to break down. Let's see what happens. Ooh, Microsoft. The second I put that trailing stop in, I just put that trailing stop in and then it hits. So same thing with NVIDIA. Look at the bid that this just caught. So that's obviously on one. Coinbase as well. That just came out. So we're down to NCLH and Intel, which is exactly where my day started. But those I've had since the morning. All the new positions have just come out. Some winners. Microsoft was a win, NVIDIA was a win, but trailed out on both of them as the market catches yet another bid.
Yeah, and balances out. Those of you asking, and balances out 4 minutes. It's 346.20 right now. Look, we always talk about Momo here on the chat, so I'm going to say what's up to you, Momo. Yeah, time of day trading. I mean, that's the thing. You got to look long at certain points of the day, I feel like, and then retrace it back in. So I feel like you're right about that, but you know, again, stock's pretty specific there today. I mean, long Meta would have worked out, short some of these other names, Amazon would have worked out. So I don't have a problem today. You asked if I was red, Momo, so yes, I am. I don't have a problem telling everybody that, and you're going to be red on some days, that's for sure, in these markets. And today is one of those days, and it's funny because everything that we talked about has been pretty good today. Apple long, Amazon short, AMD long, and then Microsoft, if we got any dip buy opportunities in Softy. Let's just check out what we did on Microsoft, which was a nightmare to begin with, because we wanted dip longs. Sorry, I edited that wick already, and then it just came back. So, but right here, man, this 305, 306 area has been pretty good. So that's 305.80, 306. It's been holding. There's 305 holding as well, but dip by long. So we tried that early, and then we got short there right around. I mean, that's the short that we got, Momo. Look where we were short, and then, of course, how am I going to predict that 11 o'clock is when it drops down $2, right? So I was short here. 10.50, et cetera. Then as soon as 11 o'clock hits, it goes the other way, but not enough for me before I got stopped out. So I don't want to play time of day and second guess some of that. You know, just play the right ranges, play the right names, and hopefully you'll get supported with that. But I mean, what I could do instead of all this nonsense is trade the Qs. You know, and then just look for stock-specific news, right? And if you're trading just the NASDAQ today, Again, these tops held, so that would have been pretty good. We could talk about it, and I can blow up a chart to show you where the NASDAQ was at this time. It was at past resistance. So for it to come up here and resist again, it was really no surprise. So then the move comes down, and then there's the NASDAQ holding again, and there's the move up. So yeah, sure, it does look very similar to a stock like an Apple or something, but you know, you're gonna get me trading this today. Look, there's the high, right into past highs. We were long, taking advantage of that, hoping that it was gonna break, and then we hit the short, and now we're still short Apple as it's falling down. So I feel like I'm gonna stick with trading equities, but there has been some good opportunities with the futures today. We don't talk, you're going soon to Paris, so we'll have Arun on board here very, very soon. So we don't talk about his positions if he's not here, but you know, so you can leave that for what it's worth.
Yeah, finally getting to go to Paris. Not till, it'll be like the back half of May. Actually, I come back, and then it's Memorial Day is on the Monday.
Nice.
So like, well, I'll be jet lagged, but at least Monday is a day off. So it's the week before that I'll be heading to Paris. I can't wait for it. My wife is absolutely thrilled. It was supposed to be going literally for her birthday, and then COVID happened. So with 30 seconds to go to the imbalance, I have a tight trailing stop, and I'm on the bid in Intel. Same thing over there with NCLH, although I'm on the offer at 14.59 in front of 14.60. So we'll see if we get that as the imbalance is about to drop. It looks like I'm going to pull Meta up on one of my. I'll just pull Meta up here. Who cares? You guys don't give two craps about Intel. So Meta did this. It just bounced all the way back to 243. So if you bet it's closing above 242, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're good. But that sometimes can be the kiss of death, but the imbalance is about to come out here. Bit of a power move happening right now. And there we go. The imbalance has just dropped. Morgan Stanley is a 1.2 million buy. Ford, sell of 1.1 million shares. Pfizer, Uber 600,000. Where's the big cap tech names? Not really. There it is. Google, Alphabet, 880,000 shares to buy. Not terribly large here. We'll get the actual overall number in a second, but I'm not seeing many of the big names. Amazon's a small buy, 400,000. So it's probably to the buy side, just based on a couple of the big tech names. Intel's a buy. Maybe I'll just punch out of that one where it lies, because it looks like overall buys, but not that much of a. Not that huge. Nothing gigantic that stands out there on the million mark, but
490.
Yeah, 490 to buy is the overall number. So it is to the buy side, just not very big.
All right, so yeah, on that note, let's take some more out here as Apple's now falling down. You see 40 cents in the money, so sometimes it does work out and the shorts keep on printing. So nice little downside move for that. We did get stuff out of AMD. Where is that right now? Still holding out pretty high, but look at this, man. Now 40 cents in the money. We're bidding. Oh no, we got our 30 fill. Okay, we got a 30 fill. Okay, now it's broken through 30. So of course we got a 30 fill. All right, 40 cents in the money. We'll take another 31 right now if we can get it. So there it is, finally. What's up, Podsy Fonzie, man? Yeah, you're right. We'll be back. We're not going anywhere. Every single day is a brand new day and another day to hit the market running. So we're going to continue to, stay positive, and, despite being red, you can ask either any of us at any times, man. Even on the midday show with Sharif or whatever you want, if we are positive or negative. But this is what I said here, man. Happy New Month to all my fellow traders this morning. May this month bring us endless opportunities. So hopefully we can find some to make profitable trades and reach our financial goals, whether or not it be a monthly goal, a weekly goal, whether or not you're in sim mode. Let's stay disciplined, focused, and optimistic. So there you go, Ponzi Fonzie. Thanks for that as well in our pursuit of success. Here's a month filled with green or red candles, I said, there as we wait to see where we can go. So thank you to all the love for that one, 83 likes. And again, man, let's just keep it real. As hard as this market is to trade, you guys make it easier with all your suggestions and help going forward and all of that jazz. So I want to thank everybody for your continued support. NVIDIA back up to 290, AMD bouncing off 90. That's going to be a good one. Microsoft making that move up. And what name that I said could be in trouble. This is not on. It reports tomorrow morning. I thought, didn't we already look this up? And wasn't it Uber is tomorrow morning? Am I going to do this?
Tomorrow morning.
Right. I was going to say, am I doing this again? I'm doing it again. Yeah. We already looked it up. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure because I don't want people to be like, hey. But anyways, I thought Uber, we're going to see, man, I guess they're going to put a plus in front of their EBITDA today or tomorrow because it's a nice rally here today. Up 5% and a bit. And look what Uber's doing on the daily. We're starting to take out levels, man. $33. It's going to slap that level tomorrow, it looks like. I would see a breakout, man. If you get that good report, watch out for 37 coming through on Uber. And then if we can hold, then sky's the limit on this name. I really do like Uber. I'm not in it, so this is not me talking up my book, but if they could turn it positive, I just see with summer coming, more patios, you know, more people traveling. We just talked about Neil. I'm going away. Also back up to God's land in Italy coming up in the summer
traveling.
As well. Brennan's always traveling.
Arun's going traveling. I think all of us are.
Everyone's going somewhere.
Going somewhere this summer.
I don't think Arun is.
Are you sure? I thought he was.
No, he traveled last summer, but maybe he's
maybe
again this summer there. But anyway, needless to say.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, not just us, everyone, all your friends out there traveling around as well. So
pent up demand, man.
Pent up demand, perfect word. Airbnb is another one as well to look out for. But Apple right now, nicely done, 40 cents in the money. Hopefully we can get a little spin here into the close to 169.20.
And that's my segue to be like, I just punched out of NCLH. I got 54 just there, but look, it ended up like 14. It ends up cruising higher, but it's over now. So maybe there's a secondary play for this one tomorrow. I just liked it on earnings, breaking out. 1385 was the daily break and the 50-period moving average as well, and it broke 14 clean. Never made the push to 15 bucks, so we got a couple of times at 14 and 14 and a half. Not that bad. Julien Bernard, welcome to Paris, you just said for me. Thank you very much. I really can't wait to go. Like, we're really looking forward to it. It's not just to see like some history, but it's a place that my wife has wanted to go for a very long time. So it's good for us to be able to do that and actually get to travel. But everyone, like, traveling is a heck of a lot of fun there. I will miss trading, but it's not for a couple of weeks. I'm now flat. At this point, Meta is so strong, so that's where I want to be watching here. Not really anything to look at as far as earnings go after market, is big time movers. So let's watch Meta just be an absolute powerhouse today. It is now through the top on the daily and continuing to churn. When you talk about where the next move is for here, 250, because 250 is a round number. That's what we're looking at this particular point. It's round number time, man, and the next one is $6 higher for Meta. As with 5 minutes to go, it is at the high of the day and not really showing too many signs of slowing down at this particular point. It's all green. It's 340. I don't know what happened there, but it just caught another bid and then went parabolic. It's almost like the programs just turned on again randomly at 340 on Meta.
Yeah, oh man, the buy programs again on Meta?
Yeah,
oh man, Meta is just off that bond offering that they had, 8.3
It's done it
billion.
3 times today.
Something absolutely beastie right now. Apple made a move up. We're light on Apple. We're basically out of it. Amazon, I just want to look at it because it's trying to take down 102 again. What was the bottom here today for Amazon? Pretty much where we just made it about 20 minutes ago. 101.80. Okay, so I'm just making sure because I still want to go short Amazon. And if the market is a red one tomorrow, like how many days now? Ooh, it looks like I was going to say how many days are we going to have to fight the market, but the market is turning red and may close red with only 4 minutes to go. We're going to see where this market closes. But again, a pretty back and forth day. So here's where the market opened up today. Right here was the open candle right there at 8:30. So we opened up at 13,030. We are going to close at about 13,030, which is very close to where we closed on Friday, as you could tell by that number. So really not that much happening today, so it feels silly to be losing this much, but there is the earnings board. Pfizer, again, I think that should be a good one as that's come down. As right now, some of these biotech names are not the darling of Wall Street right now. A lot of them getting hit. We've seen Moderna, but Eli Lilly working. Okay, DuPont, again, an industrial name. Molson Coors, what, they changed their logo? Okay.
Apparently they did.
All right, that's interesting.
MicroStrategy, I guess some people will be interested in, but not. MGM, I know we care about.
MicroStrategy used to be a big one that is moving around. Diamondback Energy, of course, there in the shale game. You can go find out the NXP, another big semi there as well. So some good ones coming. I'm looking I talked about Uber a lot. I think that'll be a good one to trade. And then, Pfizer, I think you pick up some nice value, how low Pfizer is right now on that stock. So, yeah, so far so good. That's earnings coming tomorrow. It should be a great day. I still, of course, wait for AMD tomorrow night, Apple Thursday.
Yeah, a bit of a 2.5 minutes to go here. Bit of a dip there. We got to 244 in Meta, and a bit of a dip off that high of the day. Still kind of churning it out as a strong, only up 1.3%, but it feels like it's been. I know Nvidia's probably had an obviously better day. And Semiconductor also had a pretty strong day, but it feels like Meta's been the one all afternoon. So I want to end off by saying, yeah, this is one we have to watch out. You're breaking out to highs, not all-time highs or anything like that, but pretty significant. Nvidia's going to end up closing, underneath that 290, but when it was a 280 break today, that's pretty darn impressive for Nvidia. 2 minutes to go. I'm going to make the assumption that we're going to have either Katrine, maybe Katrine's going to be on the bell in 2 minutes, just giving her there we go, she can give us a thumbs up. Working so hard that she didn't even have a chance to finish her lunch. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that crazy work ethic there. Although I feel like it's almost like it's on display more than anything else. Seriously, it's like the food is just there, and I always have to look at it, and it makes me hungry.
There you go. She's hiding it.
I'm
from
not.
you, Neil.
Okay,
See,
fine.
there you go.
That's
See?
not. That wasn't my intention.
much
That was
drama.
just- what? It's right there, and we have the
everyone
program
can see-
monitor right in front
everyone.
that we sit there staring at it, and it's literally like looking in the mirror behind us. So. No, you don't have to apologize, Katrine. You can do whatever the heck you want. Don't listen to my old advice.
The NYSE bell is rung 9 times, like back and forth. Is that what they do? Right there. So, yeah, let's go, man. Yeah, the only winners today for sure, XOM. I mean, I don't want to talk about, but I don't think there's very many winners on our boards today. So stay with us tomorrow. We'll be back with a vengeance tomorrow. That's for damn sure. Looking forward to Monday Night Football. Wish that was happening tonight, but it is
Absolutely not.
So the only sport, unfortunately, I guess, is going to be Major League Baseball, unless there's something else on board. Hockey starting up, basketball. Yeah, so there's a few things going on. Of course, there's a big NHL game happening as well. The other side.
I know you have
Rangers,
money on. Sorry, I was going to ask you before we go to Katrine.
Rangers,
You have
Devils.
money on the Lakers. I know you guys have
Yes,
that.
but
do you actually think they'll win the series?
No, I got to find out. I'm going to find out what those odds are. I'm going to do that after. We only have 15 seconds right now before we go. Yeah, Rangers Devils Game 7. That's what it is, of course. I was thinking about Carolina,
Game
but they're
7.
already waiting. So Game 7 on board. Only 5 seconds left. You know what to do, girl.
3, 2, and.
Like, is it cold in here, or you're
Why are
just
you wearing
being
a
all
jacket?
fashionable? Show everybody what you got underneath that. Just the jacket, of course. Go back.
Go back. For a
I mean,
second.
you're literally hiding
in a hoodie.
the There we go. The Trader TV Live hoodie.
Hiding it with a jacket.
Hola. Next time, we got to display the merch on that one. Okay, what a brutal day. I hope it was better for you than it was for I. Where was the NASDAQ? Almost flat. Okay, interesting. Let's go over to Brendan and see if the ES made it that way as well.
Yeah, round trip all day for all markets. Guys, look at this right now, actually, as I sit here. The Russell back to green just after the close there, obviously, but both the 1,000 and the 2,000 back to green. Russell 3,000 still red. Yeah, I mean, 0.1 for the composite and the 100 for the NASDAQ, basically flat for the S&P and the Dow as well. You wouldn't think that, though, if you were actually participating in that crazy action today.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those, you could be, look, there's so many names individually that are doing their own thing in this market, sort of reacting based on their earnings, and I think it's just the kind of market we're in here when it goes sideways. You have to be able to pick and choose, like what's strong, what's weak.
Yep.
And, the overall direction of the market, that's not your driving force lately. It's not there for you. You got to pick individual names.
Yeah, pick individual names. We'll pay attention with what's going to be coming out tomorrow with Uber and a couple of those good names. I don't think anything's going to hit right now, but yeah, what for me, a violent day. I mean, I hope I'll be able to make some better trades for everybody tomorrow, but I just also hope that, hey, everyone had a great time watching the show, and we'll be back tomorrow for sure at 8:30. A big shout out to the man who's not pumping stocks, he's pumping iron right now, Sharif. Not in the building, but he'll be back tomorrow morning with Brendan at the big desk. And Katrina will be there. Everyone will be here tomorrow. It should be a lot of fun. Thanks to Mahad today. Great job there. Thanks, Brendo, as well. Max on the midday show. So far, so good here. But it's 4:02. And we're getting a little over time there. Nothing specific that you want to talk about right now, eh, Brendo?
Not seeing anything, no.
Okay.
At this point, guys.
All right, so that's good, man. Yeah,
there
Bitcoin.
one more thing. There was another balloon, apparently. So apparently the U.S. is following another balloon.
Oh, they're shooting down another balloon, huh? Okay.
Another $2.7 million per balloon, so that should be
Bang,
really
bang.
exciting there. I feel like China or whoever's putting
Go
them up could
Lockheed.
just like troll the U.S. right now because they know that they send like 6 whatever fighter jets at that thing and then blasting it down. But another balloon, okay.
Pilot's got to practice too.
Let's get ready to rock and roll. Yeah, maybe at this point we just put them up there on purpose, right? Get them to shoot it down. Pilots got to practice too. That reminds me of that song by Girls Are Players too. All right, let's move off that. It's 4:03 right now. Thank you everybody for watching. For everybody here at Trader TV Live, join us tomorrow where hopefully the market will be a little more directional and we'll be able to get some big winners for you. So for Neil, Brendan, I'm Sean. We're Trader TV Live. We'll catch you tomorrow at 8:30. Ciao.